How's it going, friends and family of the internet? Welcome to the Real AF TV podcast, a show about fishing and random takes from the land of 10,000 lakes. I'm one of your hosts, Josh LaBaw.
And I am the other fella, Tim Wagner.
Tim.
What's going on?
Yeah, what's going on, internet? How about that? What's going on, internet?
Yeah. What's up, internet? What's going on with you?
How's it going? What's doing good out there on the internet right now?
Lots of stuff, yeah. I would think.
Zelda's popping off, that's for sure. We'll talk about that in the second half. Oh my God. We gotta again. There's reasons why. You'll hear later. I just wanted to try to kick off on a little bit of a positive note because we've been avoiding this topic for a little while because it's going to get negative. So let's do what we do, Tim, and kick off the fishing news. Okay, we're going to do it.
Every time.
You ready?
Ready.
Let's get angry.
Oh man, the cheaters again.
Go directly to jail. Do not pass go. Those fucking cheaters over there in Ohio. Yeah. Now, they're busted in Ohio. They are from Pennsylvania. Yes. I wanted to just jump off with that.
Sure.
So I got this from Cleveland.com. That's a good fucking URL, dude.
It is.
They're like Cleveland News. It's not called that, but like one of the Cleveland news outlets got Cleveland.com. And I was like, yeah, dude. Nice.
I just picture like every button that you click is just like, like I can't. That wasn't a good impression, but like the Cleveland laugh.
That's so good. Okay, so again, we've been avoiding this one for a little while, so I'm gonna like put the little pieces of housekeeping before it. This was published on May 11th. Corey Schaefer at thecleveland.com is where this article came from. It's a good article. I will post the full link over in the YouTube video. Remember, Real AF TV. It's now at Real AF TV at the end of youtube.com/@Real AF TV. They switched that up, and we got it. Real like fish and real. May 11th. Again, I know that's almost a month ago, but this just gets negative because fuck these guys.
Yeah.
But I want to try to just do it. Okay? Just do it.
Yep. I don't even know where you're going.
We're gonna end up getting angry with it, but I'm just gonna try to, read what happened here.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna totally screw this up because it's the name of a county and it's Cuyahoga. Cuyahogga. Cuyahogga. It's got to be Native American. Cuyahoga County. Cuyahoga County, we'll say. So it's got we got Judge Stephen Gall on the stand.
Yep.
And he hits him with this Sophocles quote, ancient philosopher Sophocles, and he just goes,
"Yeah,
I'd rather lose with honor than win by cheating." He called them cheaters.
Yep.
He said, "You guys, really at the end of the day," this is a quote, "really at the end of the day, you're convicted felons and cheaters."
I like that, but you should be like, I almost feel like it should be harsher because these dickbags know that they're cheaters. Going into it that you're cheating to win and that you're making money by doing so, or at least you did.
Mm-hmm.
So for me to just be like, I'd rather be to lose with honor than to win by cheating. And they're just like, yeah, I'd rather just keep cheating and not get caught. They're dick bags. Like, you got to hit them with more. I would have liked to hear that it's good.
Right.
But it's like telling, a psychopath, like that was a murderer, because not all psychopaths are murderers, but
right.
Like a psychopathic murderer, and you tell him you're a murderer. That guy is just like, yeah, I mean, don't I know it?
I mean, I was there.
Oh man.
But yeah, I just thought he had some good quotes. Like, just for a judge who you think is to be like kind of a stoic person, and to have him hit with that, and then just be like, "You're convicted felons and cheaters." Like, that's what you are. It was just like,
Yeah.
dang, dude.
Yeah.
And so, speaking of them being dick bags, you said that, and so
Yeah.
I just wanted to be like, yeah. Speaking of them being dick bags, they were they only entered their plea deal in like the last minute. It didn't say that. Like, you can go over and like, you want all the real detail, like all the full details.
Yeah.
Corey Schaefer did a great job over there. But they basically waited until they were going into the courtroom to strike their deal. They were basically like, so we're gonna go in there. There's a plea deal on the table if you want it. And they're like, nah. Okay, last call. And they're like, fine, we'll sign the fucking thing. Like, what are you gonna do? They just waited until the last minute. Like,
Yeah.
that's how
What?
fucking dude. They knew they were
I mean,
busted,
what?
and they still were thinking like, maybe we can go in and fight
Why?
this thing. Maybe we can get a better deal than the plea deal.
Why is there even a plea deal?
Well, I'm no lawyer, but usually it's just to make sure that it doesn't get dragged out in court.
Oh, that makes sense. Where they're just like, take the deal where it's a little
Right.
bit better than what I'm going to throw at you.
Yeah, than what
If
you
you
could
waste
face
my
if you're found
time.
guilty. Yeah.
Yeah, if you
And it
waste
stops
all the
wasting the
court's
court's time.
time and all these other people and stuff, and we have to sit here
Right.
when you've been clearly caught red-handed,
Right.
you pieces of shit.
Yeah, so I don't know if you guys caught on
like,
how we feel about these two.
yeah, I mean, if it were me, I would have sat there and just started giving him all the examples. You know,
I'm
not
sure
to just been like, you're known as a cheater. I would have been like, this is a YouTube video that will live in infamy for the rest of your lives.
Yeah.
Everyone you know will know you're a cheater. Your kids will know you're a cheater. Everyone knows that the only reason that you got anywhere in life is because you cheated your way through it.
Right.
Like, I hope you realize that there is no way of getting your name back in good graces.
Right.
Like, you're just as bad as a pedophile. Everybody knows that you did something you weren't supposed to do, and no one will trust you for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, right.
That's what I would have liked to hear. Just like really break it down.
Just
like
really lay into them.
just be like,
compared to kid fuckers, and be like,
yeah, you guys are worst of the worst. Like, it's like, kid fuckers are here. It's second class. I mean, it's
you guys
right.
are right up there.
It's right there. You guys
fucked
are
a lot of people. They might have not all been kids, but like,
there's a lot
you
of people
definitely
that were
affected
doing
families.
Yeah, these guys were legitimately trying to make a living off of doing this stuff, and it would have made a big difference, because the difference between first place and second place is huge in a tournament of that caliber, where it's not that big of a deal.
Right.
If they're taking home 30 grand, second place is maybe taking home like 10 if they're lucky. I bet it wasn't even that much.
Right.
So these guys are getting that much more money, and you're talking like one tournament, that 30 grand. Like, that's the difference between some of these people being like, I have to work a full-time job and not do, or I can work a part-time job and get out there early and practice and get everything else done,
and
you
be
know,
more
like,
committed to this. And
yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And these people took years away from these other guys and stuff, and it's just, it sucks.
Yeah. So I'm going to jump a little bit ahead here in the way that I have this written out, because it's related exactly to what you say. The best finish before they went on their winning streak of first places that made everybody kind of go like, I don't know what's up with these guys, but
Yeah.
best finish before that was 13th place.
Which isn't bad. Like, anybody out here
No.
here in 13th place is not bad, but your best finish is 13th.
And
Well,
then all of a sudden you go on
better.
a first place winning streak.
Yeah.
First place. This isn't top 3, man.
No, it's
It
first
said
place
first
every time.
place winning streak. Yeah. fucked up, right?
Man, that's
So
super fucked up.
I'm gonna hit you with what they got. So no fishing license for 3 years. Suspended, or sorry, they were sentenced to 10 days in the county jail there. A year of probation with 30 days hanging over the head if they violate probation. A $2,500 fine. But Judge Gall hit him with,
Jesus.
hey, I'll cut that fine in half if you donate it to an organization that promotes fishing with kids. So he's just like, you donate 15 hundo, or not 15, sorry, 12 hundo to a
Yeah.
organization, and that's your fine. I'll take half of it away. We don't need the money here at the county, but those kids, those kids fishing organizations need it.
Yeah.
And they had to submit the boat, which is estimated at 100 G's.
Yeah.
I was like, what? What? $100,000 boat? So Tim, please tell me more about how that works, because holy fuck.
It's pretty easy these days to get into. Yeah, because if that's like a big boat, if it's, I'm guessing because they're walleye tournament professionals, a lot of times you're fishing bigger water and you got choppier stuff. So that could have been, like a 21-foot deeper hole with like a 350 or 400 horsepower motor.
Oh, big motor.
Before you're adding any of your electronics and stuff, you're looking
Right,
at
which
like
they obviously had, because they didn't suck at fishing. That's also the worst part about all this. They didn't suck.
No, I mean, you gotta know what you're doing somewhat. They still had to catch those fish to put the weights into. It's not like they didn't catch fish.
Right.
They just weren't catching the biggest ones, because that's the name of the game, man. It's hard to catch the biggest ones.
Right.
It's the same thing with bass fishing. Sometimes you hear people, oh, I can go out there and catch a bass. Sure, you can. It's not hard.
No.
But to outfish me, now it's getting a little bit tougher. I'm not saying I'm the greatest fisherman, but if you just want to be like, I'll go put a bobber on right now and go fish with a worm, just like, great. Yeah, but if you sit in one spot and you hope that you're going to catch more fish than me, good luck, buddy, because I'm going to go where the fish are. Right. I'm going to catch the fish. I'm going to move and all that other stuff. So you got to be a good fisherman to be able to pull that stuff off. 13th place in the tournament is nothing to stick your nose up at. That's
for sure.
That's a decent finish.
Yeah.
But that's your skill level. That's where you should have finished.
Right.
You should
not
have
all of a sudden
polished
next
up
week
and tried to do better.
Yeah. And it's not like all of a sudden you go from 13th to a winning streak of first place is overnight. It's just not. You can get lucky every once in a while, but you're not going to win every single tournament, for the next 6 tournaments out of nowhere. This is not going to happen. Right. Anyways.
So just when we're talking about prices and stuff, I just Googled it real quick.
Yeah.
Like a 400 horsepower Verado, which is not uncommon, or like not out of it's kind of uncommon because it's a relatively new motor, but it's not
out of the realm of possibilities.
Right, out of the realm of possibilities. Those are selling for, like, right now, just a quick Google, between like $37,000 and $41,000 for just the motor.
Damn. Okay.
Yep. So I mean, you're talking, it's super easy. I just saw a 21-foot nitro with a 250 horse motor on it that had like decent electronics, and it was like a deep V nitro. Nitro's more of a bass boat, are known for their bass boat stuff, but they do have like a deeper V walleye style boat, which is, the deep V is better for deeper water, because the bass boat, the water can come up over deep V.
Yep.
Is made for the deeper water. And that guy, it was like a 2021, and he said that it was barely used, and he was asking $80K.
Holy shit.
So that's for a used boat that's now 3 years old, because right now I'm sure I don't know when they release their stuff, but I'm sure the models they're selling right now are like 2024.
Right.
Unless maybe the boat ones are just more, not like car
Yeah,
ones.
but it's a good guess. I mean,
Yeah.
I get what you're
Anyways,
saying. But yeah,
did I
because
say
cars are
4? I
usually
meant
1 year
3.
ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, yeah, it can get crazy. The bass boats on the tournaments. What the fuck?
What? What
My
happened?
my monitor just shut off. I still hear you. I
Oh,
just all of a sudden I couldn't see you. My computer's on.
weird.
I just lost my monitor.
Huh.
Anyways,
Okay. Weird.
so yeah,
You can dig
boats
around at
get
that. Well, I mean, if you
boats
want
get
to.
expensive. That's the
Right,
end of
right,
what
right.
I'll say. I'll try to figure this out.
Okay. Yeah, if you want to take, look and see if you can find a cord or something while I do this, but I'm going to
Sure.
need you, obviously need you back
Oh
for
yeah,
the.
I'm still here. I can
You can
hear. I
still
can
hear
talk.
me. Yeah, so
Yeah.
you dig around and in the background, and the video people will notice it over on YouTube, but audio shouldn't notice. Cuz this is the last point that I want to make with this is these these guys they pissed me off so much because here it is.
Yeah.
Here it is. One of the guys, and I'm not even going to say their names. That's why I'm just cuz fuck these guys. I'm done saying their names. Okay. This is a quote. It's something I wish I could say didn't happen, but I can't, Your Honor. He's talking to the judge. I'm better than that. And that was embarrassed for sorry. And this is the quote again. So he's saying, I'm better than that. And that has embarrassed for the kids. That has me embarrassed for his kids and stop. You fucking
Yeah.
gave your kid a counterfeit $100 bill to go bowling with. Fuck you.
That's right. That's right.
That's the fucking dude, man, that said that quote. He said, I'm better than that. I'm embarrassed for my kids. No. He went on and named,
Still,
he's like me, my kids, my wife. I'm like, dude, fuck you.
still a piece of shit liar. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's
Sitting there
just one
lying in
guy
court.
that's just like, yeah, he knows that nothing will ever make it better. So
Right.
he's trying to just be like, say what he thinks people want to hear. I'm embarrassed for myself. I'm embarrassed for my family. I'm better than that. I would never do such a thing. No, but you did like a whole bunch, and you had your kid go and try to spend counterfeit money.
Even
You
after
gave
you got busted
zero.
for this
Yeah,
fishing thing, like you
I'm
kept fucking
embarrassed.
doing this shit.
Yeah, I'm embarrassed for the way my kids feel about this. Meanwhile, you gave zero fucks that you were giving him counterfeit money to go and try to spend.
Right.
Like, if you're going to go try to spend the money, it's not going to go well. But a little kid, he could try to spend the money. He's not going to know any better. They're just going to be like, where did you get this bill from? And they won't persecute him because he doesn't know any better. And he honestly doesn't. He'll be able to say, I honestly don't know anything about it. I thought it was a real money. Just, God,
even though
dang.
it said movie money directly on it. But
What a terror. Oh my God. And he's just a freaking idiot.
it's so
Dude,
bad. Dude,
what's sickening to me? The worst part about this is because I do know how much money boats and stuff cost.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sitting here being like, when daycare's over and I won't have to pay for that anymore,
Mm-hmm.
then I'll be able to afford like a halfway decent boat, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, this guy has $100,000 boat. How are you this much of a piece of shit? And you've somehow accrued enough money to get this.
I know.
Have you lied your way through everything else? Did you cheat at everything else to make this happen?
It's what makes you think, doesn't
I
it?
want to know the rest of your life.
Uh-huh.
Did you pay for it with movie money?
Right. I know. For real though, dude, right? It does. All those ideas go through your head. You're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
It's
like that kind of shit where it's like nice guys finish last. Like he got caught cheating. Right. But if he wouldn't have been caught, he has $100,000 boat with like 4 first place. Oh, I suppose. Duh. Now I know. That's how he got the boat. I'm sure he didn't have that nice of a boat when he started. Damn, I lost the monitor.
Yeah, probably.
The monitor came back on and I lost the monitor again. I don't know what's going on here.
Oh, what the hell?
Yeah, I don't know. It's back again. It's being weird.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Must be a loose cable or something. But yeah, I know exactly what you're saying there, dude. I agree with you. I had the same thoughts run through my head, and one thing that I hadn't seen yet, and I just wanted to point out before we get off this negative topic, that like, we dive down a shithole, but I feel like we have to do it. So, anyways, you're watching this on YouTube. If
Yep.
you're watching this on YouTube, listening, who cares? Just go over to YouTube and leave some shit in the comments, because you can hear where we are. I'd like to keep talking about it. Oh, realaf.tv/contact. That'll email us. Shit. We're there.
Yeah.
But the last thing I wanted to say before we leave it, their attorneys flat out said, these guys are never going to fish again. Like that's it. Their competition days are over for the rest of their lives. And I was just like,
Yeah.
I have not seen everybody saying that, like in the community, in the fishing community, everybody's saying that. But this is the first time I saw that it was reported on. Their attorneys flat out told them that. I said that, admitted it.
Yeah.
Like, it's on the record. I'm like,
well, I think it has to be, right? Because anybody that's doing a tournament knows these guys' names. You know, if you're a tournament fisherman, everybody's talked about it. You try to go enter any tournament that's anything of legitimacy, you know, not some just like small one lake, like, you know, we all put in $50 and then whoever wins gets the pot type deal.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Anything bigger than that, where it's like a legitimate tournament, everybody knows who they are, and they're just going to be like, no. Or they'll be like, sure, let them sign up. And then if they go out to go fishing and then don't come back, just don't ask any questions.
I got a pair of cement shoes in my boat. Stop asking questions. Yeah. Okay.
A little birdie told me that maybe some, you know, I don't know. It's
hey, ghost boats. They happen on this lake, you know?
I heard these pieces of shit was going to try to cheat with concrete shoes this time. We'll see how good that works.
I definitely recommend anybody who's listening to go over and read it, because there's some really shitty news about the tournament and the park that they were in and the negative publicity and how it affected it, and more details on the whole.
So were they ordered to pay back their winnings?
No.
After all that, they get fined.
I know.
To whatever, and
it was only $2,500.
And they're allowed to skate away with half of that if they donate it to something. That seems ridiculous. After you stole that much money, and you just get to keep it, you're not expected to pay that stuff back. Yeah,
pretty rough. Huh?
That's real rough.
Yeah,
that one hurts. Where like, obviously you tarnished your name, and
right.
Yeah, nobody's going to look at you the same and stuff.
Right.
But if you want to go fish by yourself, you still have a super nice boat that you probably bought with all that stolen money. And now you have to go spend less money.
Taken away.
Oh, that's right. They got the boat taken away.
100 G's going to the...
That's right. That's 100
Ohio
G's.
DNR, baby.
That does feel better.
Right.
The Ohio DNR should auction that off, though.
That's what I mean. That's why I said there goes $100,000 to the Ohio DNR.
That kind of sucks, doesn't it? When you think about it that way, almost feels like the Ohio DNR is a bunch of cheaters. Just be like,
I think about it as like a fine. You know what I mean? Well, like I think about it as like, that's where the judge was going. Like, we're gonna get ours already. As far as like, as far as the state goes, we're gonna get ours out of your boat.
Yeah.
So donate half that amount of money to something that needs it. We don't need your $2,500 or your, it'll be $5,000 between the two of them or whatever. But
yeah, I mean, I get it a little bit, but it's like
a lot to
they're
process.
Cheaters in a tournament that stole money from the other tournament people. Like the people, mainly the people that place second places in those tournaments, got a whole bunch of money stolen from them.
Right.
And then Ohio's just like, what do? Do we make them pay back that money?
Well, I'm no lawyer either on this.
Make them give some money to the kids, and then we get the boat.
I'm no lawyer on this one, but I think this makes a very easy case in civil court now.
Oh, sure. Yeah. So they can individually sue and be like, listen,
so.
I need my money back because
Right.
you guys took. Hopefully that is
I
still
think that
coming
is.
then.
Yep. I think that's an
Hopefully.
option.
Okay. I take back what I said, Ohio DNR, especially if it is a situation like that where the other people involved are in the know already, where they're like, yeah, we're going to take their boat, but you can sue them for your lost wages or whatever.
Right.
So,
yeah. I mean, it
yeah.
didn't work for OJ, but it did. Because he lost all his civic cases. He won the criminal one.
Yeah.
So I mean, he got his ass sued off. But I think that a lot of the evidence that comes from this can be reused, basically, or
Yeah.
you can. I think there's a way. Again, I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know, but I think there's a
No,
way
I
that works out.
think you're right. I do listen to a lot of different true crime stuff, and I think once you're convicted, just like OJ got off on the criminal one and was convicted in the civil one. If you're convicted guilty in the criminal one, I think it's pretty damn easy to be like, he's guilty in the criminal one. Like, we
Right.
don't even need to plead our case. Clearly, he's
Right.
guilty in the civil one.
Right. You just point at previous case.
Yeah.
Hmm?
Just the lawyers have the easiest job ever. Your Honor, Exhibit A, and then they just like hand them the folder of
all of the stuff that was from the criminal case.
Yeah.
The last page says guilty on it. 200 pages of data, just guilty. Shit.
Yeah.
I should have just flipped to the last page.
Yep, that's probably what they do even.
Okay, let's get into some quick housekeeping. Let's get off of this and into the topic, which is going to be, I'll just keep this as part of housekeeping, but the topic we're going to talk about, well, if Tim has a catch up about last weekend, because he had some cool photos, we'll go over that really quick, but I want to talk about kid fishing rod, our childhood fishing rod. That's like the topic. I knew this was going to go long, so I'll get into that in the beginning of the fishing topic. Never mind. Let's move on. Housekeeping. Remember, I already said it, youtube.com/@realaftv. That's how you can find us super easy now on the internet. But even easier, if you just go to realaf.tv, has all our stuff right there at the top, including the Patreon page and all the different audio platforms that we're on, like Amazon and Pandora, and the bigger ones like iTunes and stuff like that. Apple Podcasts. We are an every other week podcast. If you don't know, now you know. It drops on Monday every other week, and on the off week, Wednesdays and Fridays are the days where you can get the topics split up over on YouTube. A good reason to like and subscribe over on YouTube. If we did a 7-day, and this is just, regular listeners, first time listeners, anybody, if you're hearing this for the first time, we do have a Patreon page. Again, if you go to realaf.tv, you can get the Patreon page. That's going to be the break in between the two. You will hear a little tiny ad for it. But it looks like there's an option for a free 7-day trial over on Patreon. Would you do that if we kind of switch things around? Let us know. I would like to hear that. And it's easy to let us know by going to realaf.tv/contact. It'll email us. And we could make that change over on Patreon if that is something that would interest you, because it sounds like that's an option now. They're switching things up a little bit over there. So I and Tim also have to talk about Patreon and how we feel like switching that up a little bit. But enough of that. We are going to go in here. We're deep into the podcast, so we might have to keep this topic a little bit short. But I didn't think it was going to be super long anyway. But first things first, Tim, do you have a update? Do you want to do an update on what went down this weekend?
Yeah, we could do an update on what went down this weekend. Yeah.
Because you had a good table of stuff, and I'm going to put the images up on Twitter. I'll have them up on Twitter next week for sure.
Okay.
As the podcast drops, or I should say this week as the podcast drops. I'm going to post them up there because you had a good crappie flop picture that I want to put up.
Yeah. Caught one flopping in action. Like LeBron. I got you, sucker.
Got you good.
Yeah. That's what you get. No, I should say, like most of the NBA. I got you. I like basketball, but man, I'm getting sick of that shit. Anyways, so yeah, this weekend went really well. Boat was back in order. Ended up being a water pump, just not throwing up proper codes or whatever. So that got fixed.
That's
Everything seems to be working fine.
good.
Got out there. Crappies were still up shallow.
Nice.
The water was warming up. It was like 62 degrees.
Okay.
So last the weekend of fishing opener, the water was only 49.
Yeah, I was gonna
So
say.
it
So
was
you had
actually a little bit on the cold end of like the crappies were moving up, but they hadn't started spawning yet. Last weekend was probably amazing, and then the weekend that we just passed, the fish were still up, but it was they weren't as thick as they could be. So I'm sure some of them were already done.
someone were yeah.
And with the ones that I filleted out, there was only 2 of the 21 that we kept between the 2 days that had eggs, which is a little bit unusual this time of year.
Right.
Because a lot of them seem to have eggs when I catch them. But also, I don't know how to tell the difference between males and females, except for when I fillet them and I go, oh, these ones have eggs.
Right. They squirt
There's
out
my
eggs
answer.
on your hand.
Yeah.
And they're back. Well, okay.
No,
Got
they never actually squirt out these ones. They're always like, it has like a roe sack on the inside.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's not like a salmon where like you can caress it and they just start shooting them out like little pearls.
I've definitely had Sonny's do that though, or something to that.
Yeah, I mean
effect,
it's definitely possible that these ones could too.
They just you don't have it happen to you, it seems.
Yeah, and to try to save time, I use like an electric fillet knife. I have a Mr. Twister, old school electric fillet knife, which is the cheapest option out there. It requires an extension cord, but it works pretty damn well, and it's a fraction of the price compared to the lithium ion ones. I'm not shitting on the lithium ion ones. I would get the lithium ion ones in a heartbeat, right? If I had some extra money laying around. But so I fillet all them, and I think I don't really have to put any pressure on the fish because the knife's doing the work. Right. So maybe if I put my hand down on that fish, I would be shooting some out.
Right. I got you.
But yeah, so we went back, catching the crappies up shallow. And then one of the fun things that I was telling you about, and I forgot to take a picture of it, and I was kicking myself after I dropped it in the water. I was like, damn, I should have grabbed my phone real quick because I was like, that's crazy. And then just released the fish. But what happened was we were actually doing really well, and I got a scoop of crappie minnows and a scoop of fatheads. And I didn't know what the day was going to hold. So we went out and we killed the crappies the first day. And then I was like, oh, we should go up to the station and grab another scoop of crappie minnows. Completely sold out. They had no crappie minnows. They didn't know when they were going to get more back in. Yeah. So clearly the crappie spawn was still on, probably not just there. Right. But other lakes, I'm sure, were in the same boat. So if they have crappies, everybody's fishing for crappies out there. So we only had fatheads. And the fatheads, if they're smaller, on the smaller side, they still worked. But at a certain point, you're getting too big for these crappies to eat because we weren't catching monsters. We were catching good-sized crappies. So I had already talked to you a little bit about how I thought drop shotting with the Z-Man micro finesse baits would work. That might not be the bait. When I was telling everybody about how I was excited, I forgot how buoyant the Z-Man baits are. So it wants to float up a little bit, so it doesn't swim real good. And when you try to drop it, it doesn't fall. So maybe not for that, but for the Ned rig, definitely, because that's going to want to stand up when it's on the bottom instead of lay down. But that was the problem where I have it on the drop shot. The hook is just kind of suspended here, and it wanted to kind of like float up.
Okay.
instead of swim naturally. So, anyways, I did have the Z-Man bait on and I was trying it out and I caught a crappie and I'm like, okay, that works. And I was catching a lot of rock
Mm-hmm.
bass. For whatever reason, that thing was like drawing out the rock bass. They were just coming out of the woodworks, man. I was catching rock bass
Interesting.
after rock bass on that thing.
Huh.
But then I caught like a 2.5 pound largemouth.
Oh.
And these micro finesse, I mean, are with the little tail that it has on there, are maybe an inch long.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
And that's why
Because
I
you were
was
doing
like,
the hand
damn.
thing to the camera, so
Yeah,
I'm watching
yeah,
the whole time, and I'm like, that's like not even an inch? Maybe it's an inch.
yeah,
Like, whoa.
yeah. So that's why I was like, I should have taken a picture because in its mouth, it looked like just like a little crumb in the side. And I was like, damn, I should have got a picture of that. Like, that's crazy I know that sometimes the smaller baits, but like,
Mm-hmm.
if ever you wondered like how much of an opportunistic feeder largemouth bass truly are, like it just happened to be swimming by that little thing that was kind of dancing, and it was like,
Right.
well, if it's not going to swim away,
I guess so.
yeah, yeah. So
How
he
big were
ate
the
that.
rocks then that you were pulling in?
Good fish. The biggest ones were probably close to a pound.
Wow.
Yeah, they're big rock bass on that lake
Yeah.
because
Yeah,
nobody
I know.
keeps them, so you just
Right.
keep throwing them back
Yep.
in. But
Exactly.
yeah, I'm sure that there's some 1.5 pound, 2 pounders out there, but I wasn't catching the real big ones. There's been some where
Yeah.
I'm like, damn, look at the size of this rock bass. So it was a good time out there. And then we went out and I was like, I don't really know where the walleye are. I don't know, this water temperature
Yeah.
is kind of
Still
like,
throwing you off.
yeah, it's kind of like on par for springtime now, but it also went from 49 to 62 in 2 weeks.
Right.
So I'm like, where the hell are we?
Right.
And I just started trying to find the fish and the walleye, and I ended up catching 2 walleye, but they were small. So I was like, okay, well, we're kind of, like
Mm.
I'm catching some
Something.
fish, so we're
Yeah.
in the right area.
Mm-hmm.
And then what we did start catching consistently were actually like really good sized perch. Like there's not jumbo perch on that lake,
Mm-hmm.
but for this lake, I mean, we were pulling
Yeah.
in good perch after good perch, and we ended up with 15 perch total.
Holy shit, that's how many you
Yeah.
had, dude? Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
saw those perch in that photo and I was like, God, that looks delicious. Yeah, they were
Yeah.
good. I was very, very like I just saved it. I didn't really say anything over text when you sent them. I was like, yeah, dude. That's kind of all I
Yeah.
said over text. But yeah,
Yeah.
I saw those perch and I was like, holy shit, dude.
Yeah.
That looks good.
Yeah. So it was like 15 perch. Those 2 walleye we caught and threw back right away because they were too little.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had a northern or a pike, whatever you want to call them,
Yep.
bite my line off. And
Oh,
that's
shit.
pretty obvious where you like set the hook and
Right.
you barely feel a tug and there's just nothing there anymore. You go, oh, sweet. That was a northern. So, and then after that, I tied on some leader material, which I hadn't tied on yet, where it's
Right.
fluorocarbon, but it's just a little bit more abrasive, a little bit stronger stuff, hoping
Mhm.
that if I caught another one, it wouldn't give me any grief. And
Mhm.
no luck. Tried a couple different baits, and yeah, I went bigger with it to see if I could catch some bigger fish since I caught some smaller ones,
Mhm.
and I wasn't able to put anything in the boat, but the jig and the minnow were catching the perch consistently.
Hmm.
So we had a good weekend overall. Didn't necessarily accomplish the goal of figuring out what the walleye are doing right now, but when you're catching fish, it doesn't really matter. It was like we didn't really
Yeah.
want to switch it up too much,
Well, let
because
me
it's
ask a
like,
question about the perch and the walleye though, because perch and walleye are related, and we should.
yeah,
I don't think no, we haven't done a full podcast on perch yet, but we will. we gotta. I
sure.
want to, but they're related, and you said you got small walleye. Do you read into that, like reflecting back on it now as we're having this conversation? Do you read back at it and be like, huh? I wonder if there's something to perch and walleye and like, maybe there's a mix here that I can read into or
So
something.
actually, they're they're very similar, and normally they're kind of like located in the same areas.
Yeah.
So because I was catching small walleye and I was catching big perch, I'm pretty positive there were big walleye in the area.
Okay.
But for whatever reason, I wasn't able to figure out what the big walleyes were eating.
Mm-hmm.
And it's possible
Mm-hmm.
that the walleyes were out there munching on some of the smaller perch.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe I just had to go a little bit bigger or
With your
something like that.
presentation.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what the answer was. I
Right.
was not able to get a clear cut answer, but I think
Yeah.
I was in the right vicinity.
Yeah.
You know, like
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah, for sure.
and we
Like
just
you were hitting the target, but you just weren't hitting the center of the target like you hoped.
right. And because the crappies were biting well, we could see the crappies, but not
Mm-hmm.
necessarily get them to bite constantly. So
Okay.
it was a little bit more slow going. Like they weren't very aggressive in trying to feed,
Mm-hmm.
but
Mm-hmm.
they were there. So it
Mm-hmm.
was almost just kind of like you just put it where they are and wait and hope, because we could watch them literally swim up to the minnow
Yeah.
every once in a while and
Yeah.
like, you know, get super close
Yeah.
and then just turn around and swim away sometimes, and you just be like, dang, come on, dude, just eat it. So that was a little bit slow going, but we knew they were up there. So didn't learn a whole lot about the walleyes, but because we were catching the perch and we knew we could catch the crappie, we didn't spend a whole lot of time on it, you know?
Yeah.
So we just caught what we could, had a fish fry, and then now we
Nice.
have a bag of crappie and a bag of perch
Hell yeah.
in the freezer. So we got definitely
Nice.
2 more meals when we're up there, which
Right.
kind of makes it nice too, because sometimes I feel like I'm almost like in charge of providing for the family because people want to eat fish, you know? So
Right.
now
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I got two meals in the bag. So now I can go out there and try to
And explore.
and explore and investigate more instead of
Right.
being
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
well, I
Go
got
out
to
on a
catch
learning
supper.
mission. And yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay.
yeah, that was the weekend in a nutshell. We did well. Oh, and my son got to experience the taste of defeat for the first time. So since we'll tie it in with the whole first rod, he's
Yeah.
got a monster fishing rod. I can't remember exactly what it's called. Some pun with a monster, but it literally has like a monster's face on it.
Oh.
If you go to the Instagram page, there's a picture of him on there, I'm pretty sure, where I was trying to teach him how to cast and do all this stuff in the yard, and he was
Okay.
like setting the hook on one of them, and he's kind of like mean mugging. He's got, so it's like a blue and orange, like the reel is orange
Uh-huh.
and the rod is blue, and he had a good bass on there, man. Like it
Oh,
was
no
like,
way.
yeah, we never got at him, but it was a good like maybe 3.5 pounder, and it was fighting a little bit, and I'm like, dude, it's a good fish, just keep going. And he's got like a 1 to, you know, it's the old school, so it's like a 1-to-1
Yeah.
gear ratio. So
Yeah.
I'm not worried about him horsing it in. I'm like, just keep cranking it. But the line is kind of old and brittle, and it took one run and it snapped his line.
Oh.
And then he's just sitting there, and I'm just like, dang it, dude, he broke it. And then I'm kind of sitting there, and I thought he was just kind of like staring out into the water, reflecting. And then my nephew was in the boat and could see him from the side, and he's like, he's crying. And then I look around, and he is like pouty lip, just like crying. I'm just like, oh, it's okay, dude, we'll catch another one. And he's just like, I don't want to lose my bobber. Just like, we'll get the bobber back. And I think it was a little bit of a combination of both. Like, didn't want to lose the bobber, but at the same time, it was like, I don't want people to know that I'm really bummed that
Right.
monster fish just got off.
Right.
So I'm going to make it
wanted
about I don't want to lose my thing.
Right.
You know?
Uh-huh.
So,
Uh-huh.
but then immediately, you know, not immediately, but like when we got back, I did take apart his little tiny reel, put some legit monofilament on there, and then
Nice.
got everything. Yeah. So like for next time, he'll have a setup that shouldn't snap the line as soon as the bass takes one run, because it was in open water. It wasn't like it took him down in the weeds and whatever.
Yeah.
So
like you knew just because of where it was hooked up and everything, right? Like you knew.
Yeah, where it was hooked up, and like it does have a drag. Like it shouldn't have snapped it that easy. It was like, damn, dude, I wish I would have known, your lines suck this bad. Like I knew
Right.
that it doesn't come with great line
Right.
on a little kid's rod, but
Right.
that broke way too easy. So yeah, and then when I took the line off too, I took the line off, and when you get to the reel where it's tied on, the knot there, dude, I'm like pulling off line, zoop, zoop, zoop. I get to the end and it just goes snap, like I barely touched it. And I'm like, oh
Oh,
my god, this
no
line
way.
is terrible. Yeah, so I'm
Just
like, well,
under what
that's
you would have considered normal pressure.
yeah, where like I just get to the knot, like it shouldn't have snapped. It
Yeah.
shouldn't have just been like tink, but it
Just
it was
instead of just pulling out more line as you expected, it just snapped, and all of a sudden you have nothing to grab onto again. You're just looking at your hand like,
well,
what the fuck? Where'd it go?
I was trying to get the line completely off, but it was like the end knot. I was expecting it to be like a little bit of tension, and then I'd have to
Right.
cut the line.
Yeah.
And instead the final knot just snapped like it was nothing. And then I just go,
Right.
well, that made it easy for me, but proof
Right.
that this line sucks shit. So yeah, got like a legit 8-pound monofilament, nothing like too much, can't go too big on those reels because that'd make a problem.
'Cause
But
they're
yeah,
small and
his
yeah.
first rod just had a reel break off. So tying into it, I
Yeah.
don't know if you like if you're
No.
cool with just
Yeah.
jumping into it.
Yeah, no, I already wrote
I
down that we started the first like
yeah,
that we started that.
so-
I put the little timestamp on here because I'll probably
okay,
timestamp
okay,
that. I'm counting that because we're gonna get
sure,
into we got time. Yeah, we're gonna get into other parts of like now and what you're thinking going
yeah,
forward and stuff like that. So yeah, please go.
okay.
What do you got?
So my first like little
Oh.
kid rod. Oh, what?
Ooh.
Yeah.
I just had to play
Sweet.
the sound because I forgot when we actually started with the weekend update. But anyway,
Sure.
so yeah, you're
So, my first rod, I don't remember too well. I know that I had like a Snoopy pole, and
Mhm.
I want to say that it even came with a bobber that was like Woodstock sitting on the doghouse.
No way.
Yeah, some weird shit like that.
That is some crazy shit.
Yeah, but I don't remember it very well. And I didn't fish too much when I was younger, when I was a real
Right.
little kid. I do remember that I would catch the fish, or even so, I wouldn't fish so much, but my dad would catch a fish and he would be like, "Do you want to see the fish?" And I would say yes, and then I would give it an M&M and a sip from my juice box and toss them back.
That's
And
right.
just be like,
Yeah.
"Here's your snack, here's your juice. Go on your way."
I
But the
think that's how I
first
came up with this topic on the like
oh,
why I
yeah.
had it written down. It's because you've told that one before and I was just like,
Yeah.
okay, that's weird. I want to talk about that
It
more.
it is weird. My son never tried to do any shit like that. So I don't know what the hell I was doing. But the first rod that I remember that was more like legit, what I really started learning on was a 2-piece ugly stick light,
Oh,
which is made by Shakespeare.
yep.
Super durable rod. My dad never really knew a lot about fishing, but we did watch a lot of fishing
Mm.
on TV and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and they had the ugly sticks commercials, and they would grab the end of the rod, like the tip and the bottom, and they'd have this like jack dude. All you would see is his arms, but he'd bend it so the two ends touched, and they're like, "It's the strongest rod out there." And I'm like, "Hell yeah, that's
Hell
what I
yeah.
want." So like that was the first rod I bought with my own money,
Oh,
and
nice.
then I don't
Like,
know if
how
it
old
was
were you
another.
when you did that? Like, because this is, I'm not saying it's not childhood because it is, because
Yeah,
you didn't really start seriously fishing. But anyways, how old
yeah.
is that,
I
do you
mean,
think?
it was I was young.
Yeah. I mean,
Um,
I still consider like 13, childhood,
that's what I
15.
was gonna say. I'm in the 12 to like 14 range,
Mm-hmm.
somewhere in there, because I don't know exactly when I bought that first rod, but
Yeah.
I know that's what I was using. And then I had a quantum spinning reel. So
Oh, because you bought you had already gotten into the rod and reel separate, or like you jumped
yeah,
right into a rod and reel separate purchase sort of
yep.
situation. Nice.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible that I bought the combo and didn't like the reel, and
Oh,
then went and
sure.
spent some money on a quantum. I can't remember for
Yeah.
sure,
Yeah.
but I remember the majority of my time being spent on that quantum spinning rod with the Shakespeare, and that's when I started like learning how to fish like weightless flukes and stuff.
Okay.
Because I was in that small, it was like a 14-foot Lund with the 3 bench boats. I had
Mm-hmm.
no trolling motor. I would row with the oar, and then with that rod, I would cast out the fluke, and I'd go pop pop, and I'd let it fall,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'd get like a bright colored one or a white one where I could see the bait, and then
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't see the fish even from where I was at, and I just wait for that thing to disappear.
Mm.
When I saw it disappear, I know something ate it, and I would set the hook.
Right.
Just like
Nice.
I loved fishing the calm, sunny days, and I still do,
Right.
for that reason.
Yeah.
And the banjo minnow,
Oh, dude,
the
that thing
ban
was huge. Like
the
my
banjo
dad was a
minnow.
sucker for those fucking uh pay-per-view commercials,
Oh
whatever they're
yeah,
called. Infomercials. There
yeah,
we go. My dad was a
yeah,
sucker for those, man. He was buying shit off of there all the time, and the banjo minnow was gnarly weekend TV.
yeah. The banjo minnow, like I was a believer in it from day one. I saw a bunch of infomercials and I thought it was all garbage for a long time. There was a lot of stuff I saw and I was just like, that is trash. And when I saw the banjo minnow, because of the way the hook goes into the nose and the way they pull it,
Yeah.
like it does move like a real fish and then dies. And I was like, damn, dude, the way that looks. And then
Yeah.
they would hit it on the fall every time.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what you do with a fluke. Except for the
Oh.
banjo minnow, the hook is set up different. So I learned everything from the banjo minnow initially, and I was like, this thing really works, and that's how you fish it. And then it hit me. I'm like, the banjo minnow is just like a cool gimmick where it has a different hook setup and it has everything else. But
Hmm.
that's when I really started putting it together. I'm like, all this stuff already exists. There was just this guy that
Hmm.
was smart enough to market it as something different.
Yeah, and market it. Like you said,
Yeah.
the key word there
Yeah.
is market it. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's right.
Yeah. So then I started learning that after, because you couldn't just go buy one color, you'd spend
Yep.
$40 on the whole set and then
Right.
you'd lose your like 5 favorite color 2.5 inch long ones. And then you
Right.
go, yeah, maybe the 3 inch ones will work. And then you're like, well, I'm out of all the good colors and the good sizes.
Yeah.
What do I do now? And then you go to the store and you're like, oh, damn, these flukes are like the same thing. Oh,
Yeah.
shit, I bet it would work if I used a worm. And then you just start going like, oh my gosh, my mind
And
just
that was when your
opened.
mind just like exploded.
Yes. And it was like the banjo minnow showed me the way because I was too young to learn any of this other stuff on my own. So I learned what one thing was. But then it was like once I got there to put all these pieces together, it's almost like I became part of this like you know, for lack of a better term, it's like this fishing fraternity where I get in there and I'm like, I understand it now. And everybody else
Oh,
is
yeah.
like, yeah, we've been here the whole time.
Right, right. You
We
just
saw
got
the
suckered
banjo
in
minnow
by
come.
some guy with good
Yeah,
marketing. But that's
exactly.
cool. I mean, however we get you in.
Yeah. Yep.
God,
But
we
yeah,
told our
that's,
fishing stories, but this all sounds brand new to me. Like one of our first few podcasts, but I just like I don't remember the detail of the banjo minnow and stuff like that. And I feel like we skipped over the Shakespeare,
yeah,
the fishing
I don't
rod.
know if I really ever like broke down the rod. I think it was more of like the bait and how I caught the fish and everything. So it's interesting to go back to that. Yeah. Because I had that. And then I know too that back then there was when I started fishing, as you, I'm sure the same thing. There was no YouTube. There was no
Right.
way of just going out and like finding out this stuff.
Well, that's how the
So
banjo minnow worked.
right,
That's why the ugly
exactly.
stick worked on that gimmick. Like you
Right.
said there. Like that's that
And
gimmick. Not
yeah,
that one's a farther stretch than the banjo minnow for me to call that one a gimmick. I
right.
right.
It's not,
Yeah.
it's just definitely like it's not a gimmick. It's like their claim to fame. Like
Okay.
it is a super tough rod,
Right.
but it's
Okay.
not sensitive like the other stuff. But
Yeah.
as far as the money goes, dude, it's hard to beat that when you're looking at like this is a
Hmm.
$30, $40 rod and it's super super durable and it works well.
Yeah.
It's hard to beat that. And now they have the ugly stick carbon,
Hmm.
so they've kind of moved into that like higher class
Right.
set of rods. I have one. That's what I was using the drop shot on. this weekend.
Oh, yeah,
It's not a bad rod at all. It's
nice.
pretty light. And I don't know if I'd say it's the best thing, but for the money, like it's hard to beat it. They
Sure.
make decent quality stuff.
Right.
Um, but yeah, so that was my first spinning setup, and then I remember that I went out and I bought before I even knew how anything worked. I remember that I went out and bought a bait caster, and I had like
Hmm.
the spinning rod. I flip it over and I put it on there, and I'm like, this just feels weird. Like I'm trying to
Oh
put the
yeah.
bait
Okay.
caster, and I'm
You
like,
told this
damn,
before.
you gotta put, yeah. So you got to get a whole different rod set up for that. So I made it work, but that was a Cabela's Black Magic, and it was a cheaper bait caster, and I hated it. I don't think my dad ever showed me how to adjust the knobs to make it like every time I tried to cast, I backlashed, and I was like, this thing is garbage. Like every time, it's just horse shit. You cast and it wrecks itself every time. And then like later in life, you're like, oh, there's a whole bunch of adjustments that need to be made. This is not like a spinning
It's
reel where you just open the bail and cast it. Like you
yeah.
need to adjust it for every single bait. It's not a
Right.
one and done deal, you know?
Yeah.
So
So it
so
was a
that was
big
my,
learning curve.
not just a learning curve, it was a whole get over the fact that these don't suck. It was like it took me
It was a whole learning
later,
moment.
yeah, it took me later in life to watch more videos than what we had been watching. You watch the
Right.
Linders and you watch Bay Winkleman. Like for the most part, those guys were out there fishing for walleyes with spinning reels. And I'm like, why would I even use this? The pros that I watch on TV are not using this stuff.
Hmm.
And then you start watching the bass tournaments and how they're casting and everything's going well. And I'm just like, damn, dude, that seems real efficient with the crankbaits where they're zipping it out there, reeling it up, zipping it out there. And I'm like, maybe I should try to get back into this. And then when you look into it a little bit more, you're like, oh my gosh, that reel might have been decent, but I literally think I threw it away. I was just like, fuck this
You
thing,
got so
dude.
mad at it.
I'm just like, I can't believe I went and wasted $40 on this thing. And now looking back on it, I'm just like, I can't believe I spent $40 on a bait caster. It's like the
Dang,
worst.
had a good deal.
It seems like a good deal. Some of them aren't bad. I've
I mean,
had
yeah, it could
some.
have been a complete piece of shit. But so you
It
look back
could
at
have
that,
been.
like you look back at that and you're like, damn, I kind of wish I still had it to reminisce
I
or give it a
do.
shot, like give it
Yeah,
its
give it a
real
shot.
due. And
Yeah.
with your to go all the way back to the Snoopy one, because that I had a DuckTales one.
Ooh.
Yep. Mine was a red DuckTales one. And I Googled it. I was like,
Yeah.
let me look this up. And it said it was like 82, 87. I'm like, nah, they made that into the 90s. There's no way. I did like I swear we had that rod brand new, but maybe not. Maybe we
Mhm.
bought it really early. I don't know.
Got it on
But
the
I mean,
gas station. Got it on
clearance.
no. We could have got it on clearance. Yeah, maybe it'd been sitting in the store for 3 years. Just hadn't sold that one, but I don't know, maybe could have got it on a garage sale or something too. You
Yeah,
know?
maybe. Maybe.
I have no idea where my rod came, like the early rods came from. I don't remember that shit at all. I just remember what I've what I've been told.
Yeah,
So
it's
I
all what
don't.
you've been told.
Yeah.
I remember mine, but that's why. But before I do that, because you said that spinner, you were like, oh man, it's kind of one of those situations you look back on and it's like it'd be cool if I had it still, or sort of. Do
Yeah.
you? Because I collect video games, right? Like I look back and I have like the original Zelda that we had back in the day, like the
Mm-hmm.
80s copy of Zelda. It's legit. It's been in the family since like the day it came out, basically.
Damn, that's
I love
crazy.
it. um,
Is that the gold cartridge or no?
oh yeah, fuck yeah, I got that and the
Yeah.
second one. I got
Hell yeah.
Legend of Zelda N2 Link. Yep.
Nice.
Uh, and yeah, I had them as kids. That's when I started playing them. But the point, not Zelda yet, is I was looking up my DuckTales one, and I was like, yep, that was definitely it. Like that's my memory of it. I didn't think it was that old. It's kind of weird. I wish I had it. I
Yeah.
wish I still had it now. I don't
Yeah.
like it'd probably be a rusty, cracked up pile of shit, but I don't know. It'd be cool to see where it is.
Yeah.
Do
Yeah,
you,
I mean, depending on what it's made out of, if it's like fiberglass, it'd be like a little bit. You could tell it was old, but it probably looked like it's in decent condition.
yeah. I'm worried about the reel and like the
The
actual condition,
inner,
the
the
bearings and
gears and
stuff like that
stuff,
would have
yeah,
probably been
probably won't.
garbage. But
Yeah, probably not.
do you look back at any of the childhood stuff and wish you still had it?
Oh
Just
yeah,
for the collector reason, maybe even.
yeah. To just be like, oh, that was the first one, like
Yeah.
all that stuff. I don't know what I would really do with that first rod. I don't think I really need to have that. I might still have that first rod.
That ugly stick?
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a chance that ugly stick still exists, and I just don't use it. I got
Right.
like 7 rods in the corner of the garage
That just sit
I
there.
don't use. Yeah, so it's like maybe it is one of those. I don't know. But
It's interesting.
that first Quantum would have been cool because that was a little bit different too. Just because now the spinning reels are like so light that you
Mhm.
don't have to have it, but this one had like on the handle there was like a counterweight on
Oh,
the opposite side,
okay.
so you would crank it, and it wasn't like a some of the bigger bait casters. Well, not some of the bigger bait casters. Bait casters have 2 handles. There's a crank on
Oh,
both
yeah.
sides.
Right.
But this one was almost like that, where it was like a little jut out, but it was just a weight, like to counterbalance the other side.
Oh,
And I don't know if
really?
that was like to stop vibration because of the weight of some of the stuff or what.
Huh.
But spinning reels don't have that anymore.
Right.
At
Yeah.
least
I don't
none
even
of
know
the
what you're
ones that I
talking
see.
about, but
Yeah, it's just like the crank itself, where the handle like goes to where it goes in the reel to like make it put. This one just had like another side that stuck out a little bit with a weight on the opposite side of where
huh.
you put your hand to crank. It was weird. So yeah, I
Interesting.
wish I had that, and like you said, that Black Magic one. Um, if I had it now, to be like, could I have learned how to do this a lot earlier, or
Mhm.
was this real garbage? Which one was it? And
Right.
probably it wasn't that bad. I mean, I don't know 100%. Most of that Cabela's stuff, that was back in the day too, where I'm like, the Cabela's is a good company. And it's just like, well,
Right.
Cabela's doesn't make the reel. Who made the reel?
Right. Yeah.
Because that's the same thing, Shields has their own line of reels. And
Yeah.
I think Iowa makes all of them.
Okay. Yep.
So it says Shields, but it's a Daiwa reel. It
Yeah.
literally says like Shields by Daiwa. So
Right. Yep.
I don't know who made that one, and I would really like to give it a shot and see if it worked well because I have a Fluger, which is the same brand as Shakespeare. Fluger's like the higher end version of Shakespeare, not by
Mhm.
a lot, but they're the exact same company. And I have a Fluger where I want to say I spent like $69.99 on the combo, the rod and reel.
Mhm.
And that was the first bait caster I bought after that to learn on. And
Oh,
that Fluger was the shit.
yeah. That's a big difference probably.
Yeah. I did not like that rod, but that reel was great.
Nice.
I still have that rod. Honestly, I still have that rod and reel. Those two I have.
Nice.
And I've had for a long time. But that rod is like, I don't know. It's it's not good for a lot of stuff. I think I had it set up on like a trolling deal where I just like drag something.
Yeah.
Like it's good enough to fight a fish. That's kind of what it got down to. So
So, well, I'm going to talk about my DuckTales one again quick because I googled
yeah,
what I thought it was. And I was
yeah.
like, I think I'm pretty sure it was Zebco because I had
Mm.
a tackle box that outlasted it. And that's why I remember
Oh
the
sure,
name.
tackle boxes last forever.
Right. Yeah. And so I googled it and it was like, "Oh, it was. It was a Zebco. Holy shit. Awesome." So I totally nailed it and I think I couldn't believe that I remembered it. And before we go down the Zebco thing, I just want to say like it wasn't they weren't like this anymore, but mine came with a practice caster, like little weight thing. It was
Oh
made out
yeah,
of
my
rubber,
son's too.
and it just had like it was like a heavy, like a,
Oh,
it
like a
had
teardrop.
yes, and it had a solid rubber base on it, and it got smaller as it went up, and we just tied that on, and I remember casting that thing all the time because I got it caught in the big tree in the front yard several times.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
I swear it came with that thing. Now again, maybe we did get it at a garage sale, and that was just something that the person we had before. Um, but I didn't see that Zebco came with that anymore. But
Oh,
there are ones out there that do, and I think they
my
were Shakespeare
son's
ones that
yeah, my son's monster one
did it.
had a weight, but it was shaped like a fish.
Yes, yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what the Shakespeare one had
So,
too. What brand is
dude,
your son's again?
it's a monster something. I'll look it up real quick and let you know. I just
Yeah,
wanted to
yeah. I
let you know
didn't.
that I checked. My Snoopy pole was also Zebco.
It was.
It was a yellow one, and now that I'm looking at it and I found the bobber too, I was wrong because my recollection was like whatever. And now that I see this, I'm like, that's 100% what it is. And it's a Snoopy Ketchum bobber, and the bobber was Snoopy himself.
Nice.
Yeah,
Like
so I
it
definitely
was Snoopy. It's just the white and black dog.
yeah,
That's kick ass, dude.
yeah. So I had, and it's a yellow rod, and
Hmm.
it's just a little Zebco, but that's 100% what I had.
Yeah. See, so Zebco
Damn,
was
dude,
in that early
this one
fishing
says
game
Snoopy
then.
vintage fishing rod 1958. So I don't know if that's the
Dude.
same rod that they made for all those years.
Or
That's crazy.
or if it was a garage sale situation again. I don't know. But yeah,
I don't
no, it's
know,
the
dude.
same thing. I mean, mine was, I know, within 10 years, yours would have been, 30, uh, 30 or
Yeah,
40
I mean
years old, but
it's possible
it sure
that
it's
it
surely
got
possible.
passed down. I have to ask my parents, like, did you buy that or what?
I know. You should and find out. It would be really interesting to know because it's crazy when you go back and look, right? And you see it and it just goes, yeah. So I like that that your sons came with the practice casting because that's why I have such
Oh,
a good memory of mine. And that's when
yeah.
I hit the Zeb to hear yours is a Zebco too. It's like that must have been who was making fishing rods at the time and they knew they needed to get those licenses and that was a great selling point. Um
Yeah. So I looked up real quick.
yep.
Shakespeare is who makes, and it's called Catch a Monster.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
So that's the
and they
ones I
make
saw too because the one I saw was there were several of them but the one of them that comes up really high in Google searches, of course, is the Frozen one, and it had the little fish weight on it.
oh,
So yeah, it was for sure the
yeah.
same thing then, and it must be Shakespeare that's keeping them going because everybody else that I saw didn't have that little practice weight casting thing, and I loved the shit out of mine when I was a little kid. Again, that's why I have such a good memory of it because I remember just casting that thing in the driveway. I just
Yeah.
remember that red DuckTales Zebco and just and casting and jamming it up because I wore out the line.
Yeah. And I think for some reason, like not trying to brag or whatever, but I feel
No.
like I graduated past that really fast.
Yeah.
Where I was casting out the weight and I'm like, why am I even doing this? You know, like asking my parents, even like I have that recollection
Uh-huh.
where I'm just like, nothing will bite on this. And they're like, it's just practice. And I feel like I'm just like, I'll practice with the real thing.
You're like, I'm good at this. I don't know why I'm doing that
Yeah,
already.
I can do this. I can throw a ball. Like I
No, I
don't
don't
know.
take that as bragging at
And
all. It's just that
yeah,
it's the way that, different learning techniques are different ways that people just are kids. I was playing. I just found it like a toy almost. And I think you saw it for what it was already. I think you probably just had that. There's something in you, it feels like to me, where you're just
yeah,
like, nah, I get this, man. Let's go fishing.
yeah, right. Yeah.
Um,
I don't know, man. I just don't remember casting that one a lot. I do remember casting like real lures a lot and getting hung up in the yard where I don't know why the fuck I thought that was a good idea. Like, no, I'm going to cast a real lure,
No,
put
it
the hooks on
literally
it.
gets stuck in the ground. Fuck.
Yeah. So I don't know. But I do remember doing that, casting that a lot. I don't know. I still do that sometimes where it's like getting close to spring where
Yeah.
we have like a traditional spring where all the snow's melted and I can't go fishing yet.
Yep.
I just take the rod out and cast whatever's on there. Hopefully it's just a jig that I can launch across the way and know that it won't hang up on much.
Just to get a cast in, just to get that body feel of like,
yeah, I just gotta get a couple in. Like it's getting close. Zzz. Yeah, pretty soon we're gonna be on the water doing it.
So since we had the same, I mean, we had the same kind, different color, different like licensed character on it for our like early childhood. What the fuck kind of reel is that, dude? The button and you can't. What is that? What the hell is that?
It's called a spin caster, and you can actually buy pretty expensive ones
Yeah.
nowadays.
I just didn't realize that because we've talked about spin cast. I believe we really hit them in the iCast. I think there was quite a few times.
Okay.
I'm just really remembering this that we've talked about the word spin caster before. I didn't put the two together though. I didn't know. They don't look like that anymore.
So well, they make them. They make them.
But it doesn't have DuckTales stamped on it anymore. How the fuck am I supposed to recognize
it? That's true. Yeah. Johnson still makes some good ones. You can get nicer ones from Abu Garcia. I think there's a couple different countries. There's a couple different companies where you can spend upwards of $100, if not over $100 on one of those.
Damn.
Where it has like, because I think it has like legit gears in it and stuff, so you can fish just like anything else.
Yeah, and it's still press down the thumb, cast out thing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Huh. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. So I don't know if they changed the mechanics in some of the newer ones, but the unique thing about those is I don't need to get into the full mechanics of it.
Yeah, no, not
but
here.
Basically, it's completely enclosed, right?
Yeah.
And there's just a hole on the top where the line comes out of.
Right.
So there's only so much space. There's a tiny amount of space between it's like a spinning reel on the inside for the most part. Okay. There's still that spool.
Right.
And then there's a top piece that is metal that actually lifts up when you hit that button. Okay. And it kind of pulls. So there's a little metal prong though that pokes out of the side. So when you reel it and you feel it and it clicks, that's popping that metal prong out. And because there's only so much space between that spool and the outside casing, it doesn't let the line go anywhere. And that prong is almost touching the outside wall. So when it comes around, that prong is catching the line. Oh, and that's what reels it. And when you hit, the button, it makes that thing retract. It makes that little metal prong get out of the way, so it comes off.
So it's free spooling after that, like when you throw it.
Yep.
Holy shit.
And so that's why when you hold the button, that prong is still out, but it's kind of like the click of a pen. Okay. Like when you click the pen in, that the ink part is still out, but when you let go of it, it retracts.
Yeah.
So it's that kind of same
weird
idea of when you hold the button down and you cast, when you let go, it will retract, it'll cast out, and then when you reel again to click, that thing will pop back out. So
that's fucking complicated.
Yeah,
that's pretty crazy.
And it's not the greatest. There's a greater margin of error. There's more room for problems to happen. Like if the line is pulled at a certain way, like all of a sudden
more parts.
If that metal piece isn't super strong and you're fighting a relatively large fish, it can just kind of like pull it right past it. And then you kind of, some of them where there's a gap between the two and the rod gets a little bit shittier. you'll be fighting it and you can literally feel it kind of go like tink, 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 tink. And it's like every time you feel that tink is the line pulling
Oh,
past that
yeah.
prong that's
I used to
poked
do
out
that
of you.
every time I got caught in the tree with the practice casting.
Yeah, yeah. Yep.
You made the perfect sound to make my memory just go, oh, I got that. Yeah.
Yeah, done it before. Yeah. It's pretty accurate. I think that's a better impression than my Cleveland one was. But yeah, that's
oh no, what were you gonna say?
oh no, I was saying like that's what it is, and I'm guessing the mechanics have just been like greatly improved in the expensive ones, that you're dealing with
Oh
something
yeah,
where
right. Like
it's all that same stuff with high quality components,
right.
and there's
And
probably like
machined within so
no
many millimeters of this,
right.
you know.
Yeah, there's probably like no gap whatsoever. Like
Right.
that prong when it comes out is like right up against the case. Like there's no room for anything to go through. And it's so perfectly engineered when you're spending that much money that you don't have to
Yep.
worry about any problems.
Right. Okay, before we move on to the next like part of the you know what, this is going to take us right up to the random take. So that'll be before we move on to the random take. Okay, I want to ask you two things. Do you know what's on the market now for kids reels? And the second is, did you do a bunch of research? Well, do you know because you did research for your sons?
Yes, I know what's out on the market now, and it's my sons and my nephew. So my nephew was a little bit earlier than that. He's getting into like the real rods, and I know because my son is like in the same boat. So yeah. And
so when you do an internet search for it, Kidscaster by Proficiency are like the first things that come up.
Oh
it's crazy.
Yeah.
You know, right away you knew, and I was like, I don't recognize this brand, and then I saw their Crazy Reel.
Yeah, they're the Crazy Color company, basically.
And I was like, oh, okay, I know who this is now.
Yeah,
they have a sub brand called Kidcasters, and it's just like a whole bunch of kid stuff, and they have some good licensed stuff. They do a lot of licensing and stuff like that. It looks decent, but like $15 to $20, and I'm like, it can't be that.
Yeah, it's not. They're not cheap stuff, and I will say that there's a lot of Proficiency stuff on the clearance racks. And I've never used them myself. I don't know what that means. Not trying to shit on them. I don't want to say that they're a bad company. It does seem like they're kind of like, here's our bright rods. And I was seeing a lot of ads for a little while where they were just like, we need to get in with influencers that will say like how good this stuff was. Cause I was seeing a lot of ads where they're just like, Proficiency just sent me all these rods, and I gotta say these are the coolest rods I've ever seen. And it was like all people inside their apartment, like nobody actually doing
nobody was on the water
with them, just people saying like, look at these things. So that being said, yeah, Proficiency's out there. Damn, dude, I can't think of it right now. There was
Zebco is still in the kids game, dude. They look like that shit look good now though compared to what we were fishing with. I was like, what?
Yeah, they got good looking rods and reels, and I think most of the companies have a smaller version of something your kid could use. So depending on the age, you know, you can get like the 1,000 size reel or the 20 size reel or whatever it happens to be, you know, depending on the different companies. So you can get them small little spinning reels if they're ready for that. The only hard part about that is that you're physically holding onto the line. But to get them used to, they make spin casters that mount to the bottom of the rod like it's a spinning reel, and it has a finger trigger. So
cool.
it's that same idea. I think Daiwa makes one. I want to say it's called the Turbo. So it's the same. Yeah, it's like a spin caster. And I think there's a couple of different brands that make that. Shakespeare might have one like that too. I can't be for certain, but I know that at one point in time, I had a reel like that where I thought that that would be cool, and I was younger, and I know that one didn't last very long. I was like, this is the same garbage that it was before, and it was just mounted on the other side. So those aren't great. Like,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, they're cool to be like, here, get the feel of having it on the bottom and start learning how to cast like that, with your finger on the trigger. It's a good starting point.
Yeah.
And then they make, um, I don't know if Shakespeare still has some of their lower end stuff, but they actually make one of the spinning reels on Shakespeare has kind of like a trigger on the bail where the
Oh.
line comes out,
Uh-huh.
and you reel it, and as you reel it, the bail spins, and if you put your finger down it'll spin right to your finger, and then you just pull on that trigger, and your finger's already holding the line just from pulling that trigger. That trigger opens the
Oh.
bail and the line's on that trigger, so it's kind of a nice little like intermediate learning.
Yeah, like a teacher, like a good teacher tool.
Yeah, exactly.
That's cool.
So there's some different stuff out there, and it's bugging me because I can't. We talked about it in the
Are you talking about 13? Are you going to jump right to the 13? Because I want
was
to.
it the 13 one? Yeah, where
The
it was the
13, the
kids.
ambition?
Yes, yeah, we talked about it in the
Yeah.
iCast episode.
We totally
Yes, the
talked about it. Yeah.
ambition.
So I had to find that thing because to just go back quick, the proficiencies, they're like $15 to $20. And then you go to Zebco and they're like 20 to 45. So you're already like making that jump. And then Shakespeare didn't even really look at prices, but they're in that licensing game. So they're somewhere in there with the Kidcaster market, But then you
Yeah, and
jump
like
to
the
the
Catch of
proficient.
Monsters are just their own thing, so it's not all licensed stuff, but I think they're
Right.
around the same prices.
Yeah. Like in that
So
15 to 20 something.
yeah,
Yeah. Yep. So they have their licensing stuff, and then they have their like the monster things that you're talking about. And then you go to the 13, and that's what I was just going to say is like you you did your research and you're like, it's not worth it right now, but
yeah,
where does 13, now that they're in like the kid game, cuz that is a small, it says for the little homies, like it's literally in their market material.
yeah.
I had that quote written down, and that's a $60 setup, which is not too bad for a really decent
No,
rod reel combo,
yeah,
because it's a combo
yeah,
and it looks cool as fuck.
yeah. It does. They look rad, and $60, like that's a pretty decent combo for a kid. Like that's way nicer.
Bring your hand into your camera. It went out of focus when you had to lean away for your cough.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That fix it?
There we go. Yep.
Okay, I can't see nothing. Sorry.
Oh, that's right.
I don't know. It didn't come back on. That's why I didn't like when I cough too. Sometimes we have a cough button inside baseball, and I can't hit it right now because I can't see anything. So this might be the most. In it. I can't think of the words right now.
The like staring into the camera.
Oh, I've just been. That's all I got to look at.
Right. So you're just
I got
staring at the
a
camera.
monitor.
Yep.
So I'm in it right now. Yeah. The ambition
The
rod.
ambition.
I think that should be a nice setup. Like that's what I
You would
was.
think
I had a
so.
13. I had a 13 fishing. The smaller rod of the Creed, I believe it is the reel on that ugly stick that I was fishing for.
Mm-hmm.
The panfish. But that reel by itself is $50. It's not anything too expensive because it's a smaller, like I use it for pan fishing and stuff.
Sure.
Like you can spend more, but I was like, I'm good with, that I don't need to go crazy. I don't need it to be super lightweight. And it's like, I'm not tournament fishing here.
Right.
The panfish I'll do good enough with what I got. I don't need to go spend all my money on the panfish rod. So
right. What do you think that the ambition is going to be something that you're going to get?
There's a possibility.
Yeah. But that's
We'll
like a
see.
ways out, right? I mean, a 5-year-old.
Yeah. I mean, we're just learning how to cast with the push button.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
he's got it. He does a pretty good job.
Mhm.
But yeah, I don't know if we're ready to try to do the extra step of holding the line, opening the bail. I feel like it'll just take forever.
Right.
Plus the tangles. The nice thing about the Spincaster seems to have a little bit less line twist than the spinning.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe that's just because the Spincaster gets used far less than the spinning. Because I think it's almost the same mechanism of how it's like reeled in. So I don't know why it would be that much difference.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just not noticing it because I use the spinning rods a lot more. But there's definitely issues that could come with it, you know, like when there is, maybe it is that there's the line twist, but the way the rod itself is structured, it doesn't come off the reel. Like my nephew will get the line twist, and then when he opens the bail, more line comes off than you want. It's just kind of like
it kind of opens up like
yeah, because there's some memory in the line twist that wants to just kind of like spring off, where that enclosed, I think maybe it's not letting it come off as much.
Right.
So that's one nice thing when you have it closed and you don't have to worry about all that line shooting off, because then every time they open the bail, which is what's happening with my nephew right now, that, you know, you got to go and help him like with these tangles. And him and my dad are both just like, yeah, every time, what do we do? Like, get new line. That's really your only option at this point. You got to get, your line sucks. You got to do something about it. You got gnarly line twists and you're not coming back from it. Get new stuff that's not all twisted.
Get some new shit.
Yeah.
Okay, speaking of new shit, let's get into the random take then, Tim. We're going to jump over to some video game talk. PlayStation had a big presentation, and you sent me a reel on it, and I gotta talk about that for a little bit here.
Hell yeah.
And we're gonna talk about Zelda because you got Zelda. You have your copy now. Go back, listen to episode 69.
The shit out of Zelda.
If you want to hear about Tim's struggle and my successes about getting Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, go to episode 69 and check that out. We are going to jump over into the random take now and take a short break.
Yeah.
In case you don't know. And
if you don't
see you back here.
Now you know.
That's right. See you back here in a second for some video game stuffs.
Yeah. Come back for some stuff, you street toughs.
Yeah, dude. Here we are, patreon.com/realaftv. That's right, patreon.com/realaftv. Real like fish and reel. We are on Patreon, and we are coming to tell you, and by we, I mean me and Tim, Real AFTV podcast here, coming to you to say we have a Patreon as low as $1 a month, but hey, you could go up to $100 if you really wanted to get crazy with it. It's there. Go over to our website, realaf.tv. You can find the Patreon link right there, or go to Patreon and look us up, Real AFTV, Real Like Fish and Reel. And we have things like, for $50 a month, we will customize, what kind of tackle is it, Tim? We have some in the warehouse right now that we haven't actually ran out.
A lure. Yes.
Lure. Thank you.
It is a crankbait.
Crankbait.
Yes, we will customize a crankbait for you.
At the $50 tier. Also, Patreon, if you're new to the whole Patreon thing, if you're on a podcast, you're probably not that new to it. But Patreon is something that you can jump in and out of. Like if you do $50 this month, bam, you get the custom lure. But you don't want to do that for the whole year. You jump down to the $5 a month tier, where you're going to get early access content. You can help vote on the random take, one of the random takes for the month. And, we'll keep up with you on Patreon as well. Like just a direct Patreon contact. There's communication you do only through Patreon. That's what I'm trying to say. So if you're new, there's just a little intro to it.
Yeah. And to clarify, that custom painted lure is a fully custom painted lure, like the pattern and everything. That won't be just something that we have a lure that we just like write real AFTV on.
Yes. Thank you, Tim. Thank you for clearing that up, because yes, it's a slug, for lack of a better word, right now, and it will be turned into something.
Right.
I'm not good at the whole fishing lingo, so maybe Tim, you could evaluate on that a little, or like elaborate on.
Yeah,
that.
I mean, it's right now it has no color, and I will give it color.
There we go.
It will look like a bait fish imitation of some sort. It might not be exactly colored. It might not be realistic. Some of that stuff out there that the different companies work with makes different stuff, but it will be a custom painted lure, and it won't look like dog shit. Because not to be too full of myself, but I have some talent.
You have some artistic talent. Yes. Yeah, very true. If you know friends and family and stuff like that got a few bucks to kick our way, let them know. RealAF.tv. Scroll down a little bit. There's the Patreon link. It'll shoot you right over. Sign up for a little bit.
Yeah.
How's it going, friends and family? Everybody, the Real AF TV podcast is a show about fishing random takes from 10,000 lakes. We are in the random take, and I have a little bit of production to do.
Hey, now I know. You played that the first time, and I didn't know exactly what it was. I was like, that kind of sounds like a GameCube thing. But now I know exactly what it is. That's the chests, and you get good stuff out of there. Sometimes it's like you do a lot of work and you get one of those and you're like, damn, man, this is going to be good. And it opens up and it's like opal. You're like, oh, that's it? It's getting an opal?
Fuck. Opal.
Damn. Or like sometimes opal? You open it up and it's like 10 arrows. You're like, all right, well, I'll take it. I mean,
I guess I'll take it.
10 arrows is good enough, but... That was going to be something cool.
So if you're listening to this on Friday, you will probably already know, but I just feel like sometimes I have to intro these things and say like, okay, we're going to talk video games because we had the PS5, the PlayStation did a showcase thing, and you saw Reel, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But first we got to catch up on some Zelda because Tim got Zelda finally. And
yes.
I felt like episode 69, the Tears of the Kingdom talk, was me like selling you on why you needed to get it, even though you were like 90% of the way there. And then there was just like half an hour of me going, dude, you got to get this fucking game because Breath of the Wild.
I was in on the idea. I was already just like, I'm going to get it. I just can't get it from where I want to get it from.
That's right. Yeah. Cause you were just like, you had struggles. So if you want to hear about those, go over to episode 69. Now we're going to do Zelda stuff for a little while here without spoilers, but
yeah,
dude, we got to talk about like views and stuff like that. So if you don't want to hear any of that stuff, go halfway through this topic and then we're going to talk about some PlayStation stuff.
Yeah.
But
and if you don't want spoilers, you better not look at anything on YouTube.
But then just don't go on the internet, right?
Yeah, don't go on the internet. Just go buy that game. And if you want to do some glitches, make sure you shut off your auto save or like auto update. Because there's some glitches that they've been messing with already. Straight away. They already fixed some glitches that were kind of cool for people if you're trying to play catch up. I didn't use any of them. I learned about it after my shit had already auto updated, and I was like, "Damn, that would have been cool." Oh
well. I'm in a shrine right now. Like I was playing it, waiting for us to connect on the podcast. Yeah, and it has some of the coolest shit for me. That is a connection between Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, but it's totally different because it's the Ultra Hand. So like you could grab shit and move it around, and there's the dungeon that I'm in, the shrine that I'm in right now. I ran over the finish line because you start at the end and then you have to. I'm beating around spoilers, but you walk into the shrine and it walks you into the end of the shrine. And I went, oh shit, I already know what this is. I have to grab that thing and I have to put it here. Because I knew from Breath of the Wild what it took to do.
Okay.
But now it's like, it used to be like, lift this thing up really high and then set it down gently. And then climb the ladder and then lift it up high and move it over. And, move it on the Z axis 10 feet in front of you and drop it.
Sure.
And then with Link, jump over to that platform and then move the ball into the final place.
Okay.
And it's like, no, it's a totally different game now because now you have to fucking connect a wheel to a pulley, make the wheel go, and then fucking raft your ass over there and do this shit. And I'm like, oh fuck, dude, I thought it was on. And I was for the first 10 feet. And then I was like, oh fuck, I gotta rethink this. Because Ultra Hand is so bitchin' when you're sticking things to things.
It is.
And you have to stick things to things.
Dude, and the idea of how they've made all these different... It's zoning, right? Zoning, the zoning charge.
Oh, yeah.
And the zoning...
that sounds right.
All the different machines.
The machines,
there's all these different like ancient technology machines everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And they're so I don't know if you got to the one shrine and whatever, there's no, I don't care.
There's
if
no
it's,
big spoilers.
It's like mini spoilers if anything, but it's like people want to know some of this stuff if you're sticking around to listen.
Good point.
But there's a shrine where...
Well, I don't want to spoil for each other either, but I keep going.
Right. But this one's kind of cool because it's like a weeble wobble, but it don't fall down.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
And like when you activate it, the thing stands up. When you don't, it lays on its side.
Uh-huh.
In this shrine, you have to fuse stuff to it and then activate it while you're fused stuff to it, and it's basically a catapult.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, and it's
that's so awesome.
And it's like that's how you complete that shrine. There's multiple different things that you have to do, and it's literally like, no, make a catapult and launch yourself across this chasm.
Yes.
Is that
it? Fuck yes, dude. And now with that, you've learned that from the shrine, you're like, I think I could probably make that out in the real world.
Totally.
I think a couple trees and a weight.
Right. I haven't encountered a ton of different stuff out in the wild, but I have come across some different stuff, and I don't know if you got to get to a certain point in the game before the have you run into like the big gumball machine?
Mm-hmm. That's where the Zonon.
Yeah.
I'll just go with that word because I don't know what it is right now off the top of my head.
I think you're right. It's like Zonon or Zonin. I say Zone In, but I don't know. You might be pronouncing it right. It's spelt like that, so we're on the right track. Doesn't matter.
Yeah,
but that's where you get those different things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and when I first used it, I didn't get a whole lot of good stuff, and now I use it. And I don't know if each one has its own deal, because this last one I did, I got the wheels, and I know we had chatted about it a little bit, like, how do you control these things? There is a steering mechanism.
Okay, don't tell me anymore.
No. And then and I've got like all these other things out of this one, and it's all different stuff than I've got out of the other one. I've only visited 2 of these things.
Okay.
And this one is different than the other one. Like,
it makes me wonder if it's regional.
Could be, because the first one was like the one-time use cooking pot. Oh. If you saw that, you can literally like you have a cooking pot to make a meal wherever you're at, but you get just one. So if you're like in a pinch and you're out, you can like pull up your cooking pot, make a dish, and then hit the mic, and then that's gone. It's just your one-time deal. And then like the flying, there's like a wing, but you have to like attach a bunch of shit to that wing to make it work. and I
Yeah.
don't have all that stuff. But
Right.
inside those shrines, there's a whole bunch of shit that you get to use that you're like, damn, when I get this in the real game, it's gonna be cool.
When I'm outside, this is gonna be fucking crazy.
and both of us are so at the beginning cusp of this game, because
I know.
I have watched some stuff on YouTube where I didn't want spoiler alerts, but I'm like, I don't want to waste my time. And that's why I was talking about the glitches. So I'll just tell you real quick. There was a duplication glitch
Yeah, I heard
that
about
was
that. You
pretty.
even were talking about it already on the last podcast.
Oh, I think I did.
You
'Cause I
mentioned it
saw
really
the
quick. You didn't. You said
I
you didn't. You'd seen the headline or some shit. I feel like you
yeah,
really
it
glazed
was
over it.
because I didn't really watch the video. I just saw it was like the title of the dude's video because I was watching his stuff about Pokemon at the time.
That's
Because I
what it
had
was. Yeah, you talked a lot
yeah.
about him, but not the. Yep. Keep going.
Yeah, so he had that, and there was like a duplication glitch where, well, it was real easy to do. It's like you just jump up in the air, and then you go to your menu, and then you have to hit like Y and B at the same time, and it would like sort it and whatever. But you would like drop your
Oh,
shit that you had in your hand, and it would like resort it, and something with how it's sorted, it would like drop your stuff, but it would still keep it in your menu or in your
okay.
items.
Uh-huh.
So when you picked it up, you literally just double your stuff every time you did it, something
Oh,
like that.
interesting.
And I'm not a cheater per se. I gotta say per se because I did have a Game Shark back in the day. Because there are some things where you're like, yeah, once you beat the game or whatever, it's cool to have
Right. Yeah,
that,
you like to fuck around with it. Yeah.
fuck around, do some weird shit, big head mode.
Right.
Grand Theft Auto where you can like fly and jump high and run ridiculously fast and like all like some of that
Yeah.
stuff is like when I want to dick around, yeah, that's pretty cool to be
Right.
able to do all this weird crazy stuff you shouldn't be able to.
Right.
So it's fun stuff like that. But as far as like the grinding goes, sometimes,
Yeah.
like the bomb flowers. The
Mm-hmm.
bomb flowers come in very handy.
Yes, they do.
It's a freaking bomb, dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like instead of grinding through the caves to try to find some bomb flowers because some of these bad guys have like some rock looking armor that you could probably knock off with a bomb flower, I would think.
Right.
But I don't have enough to dick around with that. But if I could just duplicate that so I could just, you know, make
Mm-hmm.
that happen quick. Because
Yep.
I literally don't know what to do with I haven't looked into it, but I don't know any other way to even get rid of their armor.
Oh, sure.
So I don't know. It's
Yeah.
like, do I just gotta get like a rock weapon and hit them with it? I
And
don't
hit
know.
him with a
I would
rock. Yeah. Yeah.
so something like that. But it's like, yeah, some of
But I
that
get what you're
duplication
saying.
glitch stuff would be nice to just be able to, not go crazy with it, but instead of
Feel like you
having
could experiment a little bit more because you have the resources to do so, maybe?
right, exactly. Like if you start like grinding or like going to one part and then all of a sudden you're just getting your ass whooped and you're like, I don't have the weapons, I don't have the supplies, I'm not ready for this. Like,
Yeah.
but if you had that duplication glitch and you just had one of each thing and you just like, well, real quick, I'm just gonna like go over here where there are no enemies,
Uh-huh.
dupe the shit that I need real quick, and then go try to take this guy on. Like some of that would be cool, but
Yeah.
mine auto patched and I don't have that option, so it's
Right.
just
Yep.
it's more of a time constraint thing for me, where
I
it's like
gotcha.
I completely understand the game. I get the grind.
Yep.
I think it's fun as well.
Yep.
I just would like to try to progress more in the story, and I don't have the time to grind.
Yeah, yeah.
So
And for me, you like you said I like it as well because I think you were implying like me, I'm literally out there just to adventure right now. Like
yeah,
that's
and
all basically I'm doing. I'm barely started the story.
sure, and I like to adventure, but also because of all the stuff that I know that's coming, like I want to get to all that point so I can adventure
Mm.
more efficiently because I know there's so fucking much to this game, dude. I had no idea. So I got to ask you real quick because I don't know, and maybe this would be interesting to the listeners as well.
Yeah.
In Breath of the Wild,
Hmm.
what are we looking at as far as like the biggest differences? That hand existed in no way, shape, or form in Breath of the Wild? Because I never
No,
played that.
yeah, so it kind of did in a way, and that's how I kind of kicked off with this topic in the shrine that I'm in. Is
Sure.
I knew what I had to do, and that was pick up this thing and move it. So Ultra Hand in a way existed
Okay.
where there were things that you could grab and you could pick up and you could move. So the way that you grab things with Ultra Hand and you pick them up and you move it on the X axis and the Y axis and the Z axis, right?
Yeah.
Like that's your basic movement. That
Sure.
existed in Breath of the Wild.
Okay.
But the
But you
rotate,
couldn't.
the
But you couldn't.
attach, all of that
Yeah.
shit, that's new.
And all these devices. Was
All
that
this
a thing?
ancient technology, totally
That's
brand
all
new.
new.
Completely.
Okay.
Yep.
That makes sense. And then like your map is almost the same thing, right? Too?
I don't know
The main
fully yet because that's where I am in the story actually. Like I haven't even
Okay.
unlocked but one area right now because
Cuz
I'm just out there, man. I'm just out there.
I heard people saying like even though we were in the Hyrule Kingdom before, it still feels all new to us where I'm like, well, is it the same thing then or is it different? Like is it very similar maps?
I I,
Can I
I
can I
don't
ask you so obviously no spoilers here. You start the game in the sky.
yeah, no, that's
So
not a
so
spoiler.
you're on the sky islands
Mhm.
and then you have the regular ground.
Yep.
Have do you know that there's a whole sub level
Yeah, so there's 3 maps in this game.
and the bottom one, the depths is what it's called,
Uh-huh.
is the exact same size as the upper level.
Holy fuck, is it?
The depth, yeah, it's just as big.
Oh
It's
my god.
yeah.
So I unlocked more of that map than I have than I have Hyrule. Hyrule proper, like the top level land itself.
Oh, then
I've
the
unlocked
bottom.
more underground than I have above ground.
Oh, you have already,
Yeah.
dude. You're just jumping down into the dark.
Fuck yes, I did.
Dude, I did. I went down into the dark too, but for a while there, I'm just like this. Like it was just messing with my eyes. I'm like, I'm just staring into nothing, squinting, trying to see like I would if I'm like really walking around in the dark.
Right. I know. It does. Yeah. So
But
yeah.
you did unlock the stuff, so you were finding the roots, the light roots.
Yeah.
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 So
I found like 3 of them or 4 of them.
do you here's a fun thing since you've made it to that part then. Did you see that the light roots directly correlate with the shrines?
Oh, no.
They're directly underneath all the shrines.
Oh, no wonder you can't. Okay.
Yeah. So that's why I
Okay, so
started like
yeah,
I'm
we're
like,
gonna.
oh,
I
okay.
mean, now you're getting into some spoiler territory in a way.
That is a little bit, but I mean like also it's very helpful. Anybody that starts that's not really spoiling anything too much. It's just like
No, no, I know.
once you get
But since
down
we're
there.
both there, we're gonna go into it, and that's I'm only doing that for the listeners to be like, hey, guys, if you're
Oh,
playing Tears of the Kingdom, you might want to just skip ahead
oh,
15
sure.
seconds
Sure.
because since we're both there, I tried to ascend through it.
Yeah.
You can't.
Oh no.
Like I tried to ascend straight through the butthole. I'm like, oh, cool, this is how you're gonna get out of here. And I was just like,
Yeah.
God damn it. Fuck it. I'm
Yeah.
gonna climb it.
Yeah.
So I spent like half a day just climbing these fucking things trying to get up there, but now I know why I can't ascend through. They make it they design it so you can't. There's probably a way you can make it glitch, but you can't climb those roots and then ascend through or something like that because you'd end up in a shrine.
Oh,
You should
sure.
just fast teleport to the shrine.
Yeah. Yeah. So you weren't able to climb out though, were you?
No.
No. Yeah, I think all you can do is fast teleport, I've heard.
I
Or
I
I've
haven't I
also
didn't look
heard
it up, but I spent a half a day trying to climb out of the underground.
I've also heard somebody say that it's no secret because I've seen them in the game, but I don't know how to use them yet. But they said you can use a hot air balloon, but it takes forever.
Oh shit, that's funny.
So I don't even know, like,
Yeah,
are
I've
there
seen
hot
them in
air
the game, but
balloons
they're all
down
chained
there?
down. So
Yeah, exactly. That they're like chained down, and you're like,
yeah.
well, where do I get a hold of these to
Right to
actually
where?
use it?
Yeah, I don't know
But
either.
but yeah, I've heard that it's like really the only way you can do is to fast travel out of there.
Okay. Well, then I'm glad that my
Yeah.
eventual like, okay, I'm done trying to figure this out. I'm just gonna get out of here.
Have you have you run into any mini bosses that are like just nothing you can even touch?
No, but
I've had a couple of times where I've just ran into that thing and I'm like, "Oh, dude, I bet that's gonna have some cool stuff when I beat it." And then I just get lit up like one shot, and I go, "I am definitely not ready for
I'm
that
not
thing."
ready for that. No, I had that happen many times in Breath of the Wild. Um, I this time I'm playing different because
Okay.
of my Breath of the Wild experience. So when I
Yeah.
go out to um wander, I'll say, when I'm just go
Yeah.
out to wander and I do encounter something that feels a little bit bigger than me, I usually get my ass whooped and then
Okay.
I go, "Okay, but I know I can get out of this. I don't care that I have 3 hearts or 4 or whatever I'm at some low ass level."
Sure.
And I just try to be like, "Okay, I'm going to stealth this asshole or I'm going to try to do this instead." And this is one of the funny things I told you. Um I said, what was it? Be careful of fire and explosives or something like that. And
Oh, yeah.
there was something you told me. I was like, yeah, be careful of those. And then I said, also be careful of explosives. So I've been playing fast and loose with the explosives.
Yeah.
I get fucked up so much. So much, dude. Like,
Me
put him
too,
on
dude.
this
I've
big
died.
sword, and I'm like, this is gonna be a sweet sword. Whack
Yeah.
an enemy with it. Of
Yeah.
course
And
it
just
fucking blew me up. I'm an idiot.
oh. Yeah. I did the same thing with there was a spot I found that has have you encountered the time bombs
Uh,
where
that doesn't sound familiar.
they're like square and they flash.
Okay.
And I set one of those off and I was like, this will work perfect. I'm just like, there's a spot where it was like some rocks that could break. And I'm like, I'll throw that in the middle. And I toss it in the middle. And then I'm just like, now I just got to get out of here. And I'm like, I can't really efficiently climb up here. And then it's like, you just get that split second of like, I can't climb up. I think I'm too close. Boom, game over.
And you're like,
Damn
fuck.
it. Yeah.
I'm so close.
There's some of these where I've tried way too many times to the other night I felt like I accomplished nothing because I was fighting like a mini boss and I was doing really well, but he was so strong that if I ever slipped up and he actually hit me, then it was over.
Yeah. Okay. So
So
you're
I
doing
got,
you're doing similar things to what I've been doing then.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Like you're
just
still,
trying to
you're taking on things bigger than you, but it feels fucking cool. And you can do it
yeah.
eventually.
Well, and it's like if he drops some cool stuff, that'll help me in the long run, I think.
Right.
So I'm gonna try to beat him up because I know I can take him if I don't screw up. And then it's like after like 2 hours, I'm just like, well, it's bedtime and I've accomplished nothing.
Yep.
I guess I come back to him later when I'm stronger.
Yep. That's the same thing when I was telling you about trying to climb out. It was just like, yeah, I literally spent half a day doing that, just adventuring. What I learned, I didn't learn anything. I learned that
Yeah,
the way to get out of this situation is what I think it is, and
dude.
that's my video games. Like I was putting all of my video game like knowledge behind me and saying like, no, think of this
Yeah,
think of this in the Breath of the Wild way. For I'll just say, I think there's a way out of this, and then eventually
yeah,
I just was like, yeah, there's a fucking fast travel way out of this. And boom,
dude.
press the button.
Right. I got I got a cool piece of armor. I got a
Nice.
cool piece of armor that I found in a cave.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, I was pretty pumped on it. And it looks cool as shit. It's actually like defense wise,
Hmm.
it's a little bit lower than what I had.
Okay.
but it's got
But it looks fucking so
heat
cool.
attack power up,
Oh, nice.
and it looks like horns kind of. And
Yeah.
when I'm in a hot area, the
Uh-huh.
horns glow red. It looks cool as shit.
Oh, no way, dude. That's
Yeah.
sick. I don't recall
Yeah.
something like that from Breath of the Wild.
I've seen some stuff
That's fucking
online
cool.
where I'm
Don't
just
tell
like,
me anyway. I don't
I
want
know, dude, I like turn away. I'm like, damn it, I didn't even want to see that.
to
But dude, I'll tell you this though, because this isn't much of a spoiler. It's just a cool tip
Okay.
that I learned.
Okay.
You know those blue glowing animals that you shoot and you get rubies?
Yeah.
When you shoot those, they retreat to whatever cave's next to you.
Yes. I figured that out on accident.
That's how I found this thing, because I shot it and it ran to a cave that I couldn't even really see.
Sweet.
And I was like, oh, now when it ran in there, I'm like, I can see that's a cave, but I don't think I would have noticed it on my own.
Yeah. Yep.
So
I
I'm
had,
like, damn,
I had
it
this
ran to that
exact
cave.
same thing. It ran into, I shot it and it ran. I was like, I thought I fucking killed those things one shot last time. What the hell's going on? Hey-o, check this out. And I was just inside a rock and it was, yeah.
Exactly. That's how I found that armor. Where I was, I could not tell you. I have no idea. But
that's
I shot
okay.
one
I
of
don't
those
want to know.
things.
I love I just love to hear that story because, like, yeah, that's everything. I mean, nothing new to us. That was good.
No,
That's good shit.
It's very cool stuff. The other thing I haven't accomplished either, you know, those giant bubble toads?
Yeah.
You shoot one of those, and I think one of those little guys comes running out from it leaves you one of those like bubble toad crystal things.
Yeah.
And I think one of those other thing comes running out after you kill it. And I've never been able to shoot it. I'm not fast enough.
See, I thought it was the other way. Okay, so now maybe this did happen, but I swear my experience was I chased one of those things in and it turned into that thing. But maybe that was me making it up in my mind. Maybe the little critter got away and there just so happened to be one of the big dragon things in there. And I just said to myself, oh shit, once it gets in the cave, it changes into that thing. And I just made up a myth in my head. You know what I mean?
I mean, you could be right, man. It could, because those are always in caves. I've never seen one outside of the cave, I don't think.
No, they're not.
Yeah.
They don't leave because I had one. I tracked one all the way to the end, and
it's cool.
Stayed.
It's cool how much other shit there is to this game too.
Yeah.
I haven't found another stable yet. Have you got a horse yet?
Yeah, couple actually. But
so,
this is how far I just checked my Switch. I'm over 15 hours in.
And where do you even look at that? I don't know where I am.
Yeah, so in your Switch, when you're actually like on the home page, in the upper left-hand corner, you see your profiles.
Yeah.
And you go to your if you go to the upper left, you can click on your profile.
Okay.
And then it just brings you straight to your profile where it says your play activity on there.
Okay. I bet I'm over 15.
Yeah. And it says played for 15 hours or more. And just trust me, that thing's going to flip over to 20 or more soon.
Okay. I see.
Yeah. Like
I'm
played 65 hours or more on Cuphead. Yeah. I play that game a fucking lot. I suck at it.
Oh, I'll have to check it out because I wish I had it down here now so I could just be like, here's how much I played. But I'm sure, because I've played quite a bit where it's been like, you know, whatever happened that day. Like I just got on and then I played like till 11. Like I'm going to go to sleep at 10 tonight.
Yep.
And then I'm just like, I just want to get a little bit further. Like I want to, in my mind, I'm always telling myself, I want to pause where I can see a good landmark where when I turn it back on, I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Like I know where I left off.
Right.
You know?
Yep.
Know that I need some food. I shut it off when I'm standing right in front of one of the pots to cook. And then I turn it up and I go, oh, that's right. I got to make a bunch of food.
Right. Yeah.
So it's that kind of shit. And I'm just like, or I'm like, I just gotta beat this guy, you know. I gotta feel a sense of accomplishment.
Yep.
And then after like failing for like the third time, you just go, well, I guess he just lives.
You live to die another day, motherfucker.
Yeah.
You got lucky.
Yeah.
So before we just keep talking about, this is going to be the random take for the rest of the year. Mark my words. No, I'm kidding. I want to sneak in a little bit of PS5 here, or
Yeah, dude.
because so we're gonna sneak it in, and then I'm just gonna end the podcast, and me and Tim are gonna talk about it, and I'll record it. But I'm gonna cut off the podcast, and we'll save that conversation for later. But what we're gonna sneak in here for a little bit is I heard this described the best, and this is related to Switch, and that's why I wanted to bring this up, and it's related to our other topics we've talked about, where we talked about dad gaming and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it is there is in the works a handheld PlayStation coming, but it's
Yes.
not a handheld PlayStation. It is not a
Right.
PSP. It is not a Vita. It is a DualSense controller with a tablet in between it.
Right.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. No,
and it
that's
is a
what
tablet that does one thing only, from what I can tell. Who knows exactly what operating system will be on it, and maybe that will change. Like, what if this ends up being an Android tablet? That will be a game changer of what this thing actually is.
Right.
As
Very
they
true.
presented it here in the last couple weeks, this is a machine you turn on, and it essentially will recognize your PlayStation 5, and you just have to tell it to connect.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
like, the best description I heard so far, and you're one of these people, so you'll just get this reference right away. The best description I've heard so far is, "Oh, PlayStation made a Wii U."
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, where it's this kind of.
Almost
I mean,
entirely, except for you won't be able to use
yeah.
it as a second screen. You won't be able to DS style any of it.
Right. So it's it's more almost like the Switch then, right? Where it's like you have the
Yes.
PS5 to play on the TV until you want to pick up your screen, and then it's just on
Right.
your screen.
Yeah. You're right.
Yeah.
With the exception of everything has to run off your PS5 still.
Right. Yeah, you got the actual where the Switch is like the system's in your hand, the PS5 is.
Exactly.
But so it's almost like you can remote play on your phone now, correct?
Yeah. Dude, I use a tablet right now. Like,
Yeah.
I already am remote playing with a DualSense 5 that I just USB into a tablet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess it comes down to like price point, because I looked at
Yep.
it and I'm like, oh, that's the shit, because remote playing from your phone is cool. I didn't even think about remote playing from the tablet.
Yeah.
But
Because it's
yeah,
the screen size, right? Like, remote play from your phone,
it's
it's fucking
it's
cool.
100%
It's
screen
totally cool.
size.
But like,
Yeah.
dude, RE4 on like RE4 remake is going to be hard to play.
It's
with
too small when you're talking about
Yep.
having to hit headshots and shit.
Right, exactly. And the dinginess, not the dinginess. Well, maybe, but like the lighting, right? It's not that phone screens
Yeah.
aren't good. It's not that remote play's not good. But when it's that small and you're in not necessarily well lit areas,
Yeah.
and I don't know how much of RE4 is well lit and how much isn't, because I couldn't even beat the fucking demo. But at the beginning, it's very dark,
Yeah.
and you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And on a smaller screen, that's
is.
harder for your eyes to pick up on. And so, yeah, it would be difficult.
Yeah, I mean, there's also like when you're walking around, there's different things you can, there's like a thing in the tree where it'll be, like a ruby or whatever, and that ruby you can get and you can sell from the guy that comes by and he's just like, "What are you boying?"
Yeah.
That guy, you bring your stuff to him and you can sell it to make your money, and then you can buy stuff because you can upgrade your weapons and you can do all this other cool shit in that game. So when you're talking about like, there is not a ton, but there is a little bit of exploration and finding stuff, in that game. And when you have that tiny little screen,
Right.
there's also like text and stuff to read, and if it's just your remote playing and they're making the text on the screen because they're assuming you're looking at a TV,
Right.
and now you're looking at a phone. It's just like,
Right.
also when you're playing survival horror games, you're trying to get yourself immersed. It's supposed to be a little bit spooky.
Yeah.
And when I'm looking at it on a screen that's that tiny, it's like I need it
Little
to be
phone
a little
screen.
bit
I know.
bigger. And because we're talking about the dad stuff, like the real
Yeah.
reason I got excited about it was because I would very much rather play it on the big TV, but the big TV,
Yeah.
I can't have my son stumbling upon a game that scares me.
Right.
That's
Yeah,
not going to go
100%.
over well.
Yeah. Well, and we talked about the Switch too, about how like the Switch is awesome. It's it's
Yes,
like the perfect dad machine because you can just sit there on
for
the couch.
sure.
You can be there in the moment with everybody, because he's got the TV, she's got her phone, I got my tablet, and we're all doing our own thing in the same space, and we're still having a bit of a family moment and having that like just kind of
Yeah,
enjoying our own recreational wind down time right now.
right.
But you can play whatever you want because you don't have
Yeah,
to worry about that. He comes in and all of a sudden you're,
yeah,
blowing up a head and there's blood splatter on the screen. And
right.
then, you get jumped by a werewolf. Like,
Yeah,
what the fuck to you?
even if,
You can't do that to your 5-year-old.
right. And even if there was that kind of stuff, there's that button on the top that just automatically like pauses the game basically.
Right.
So if there's anything that you don't want them to see and they're getting close, just like reach up, hit that button, boop, and the
Mm-hmm.
machine is ready for that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So it's ready for you to shut that off. That
Right.
being said, my son didn't see the start of it, but just no spoilers here because if you get the game, you're gonna see it right away. I mean, it's like right straight away. But I was like, I can play Zelda in front of him. It won't be scary at all. And then you start it and you're just like, God damn, this is like red creepy shit and the
Creepy
Demon King. And you're like, damn, dude,
dude making some horror movie moves. You're like,
this starting is like
whoa.
creepy as hell. My wife is just like, I thought you said we could watch this. And I'm like, I thought he could.
I
Damn, this is
didn't know
way
that was
creepier
coming.
than I thought. This is way creepier than I thought it was going to be. But that's like, I'm sure we have more encounters with that kind of stuff later on. But past that opening cutscene, that was clearly the creepiest part of
Yeah.
the game
Oh,
so
for
far.
sure. For sure. There's no
But I
doubt
was
about
like,
that.
damn, dude, this is gnarly. I did
Yeah.
not know this game was like this. But there are still creepy parts because you'll see it when you start playing. But that blood moon.
Oh, the Blood Moon was in Breath of the Wild.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
That was in Breath of the Wild too. But
Yeah.
there's
They
just,
just they altered it. They changed it.
Did they?
Yeah. They
But that's
changed it,
creepy
but
too.
I know what it is.
Like even the text, like the what it says, it's like
Yeah.
all the slain foes are
Uh-huh.
back. The blood moon. You're just like, what the hell? And as it starts, there's like the little like creepy black and red, like little almost like smoke coming up from the ground, and I'm like,
Yep.
what's going on around here?
Uh-huh.
And then it just like
turns
gets
out-
more and more
Uh-huh.
until all of a sudden it's just like the blood moon, and you're like, oh damn it, what is this?
Oh shit. Yeah.
I didn't know this was like a survival horror game.
But speaking
the
of
funny
survival
part
horror
is-
and this PS5 handheld thing, like
Yeah.
price point, I'm with you. That is going to be the killer here because it's like this thing
Right.
doesn't play games natively at all. I think that they could make it an Android tablet and then
Okay.
you can be like, oh, you can play anything that's an Android game plus and now you can play Android games with your DualSense 5 controller very easily here on this tablet. And
Yeah.
its primary function, which it's been tested and proven to do and work awesome for, is remote play PS5 games. And it's a full DualShock or DualSense controller.
Right.
If they can do that for $199, mark my words, that's what it's going to be. That's a good price point, but that's $200 on top of a $500 console already.
I know.
Right?
But when you look at it like that, it's like, what does a tablet cost?
$200. That's what I'm saying. So it's totally worth it.
Yeah.
I mean, some are more, most are more, but a DualSense controller by itself is $60-$70 or $70-$80, I think. And
Right.
so I'm saying they have to launch it at $199, and and what if it has a USB-C port and works as a second DualSense controller? Now we're talking extra value.
True.
because
True.
you could have just like a USB corded, and it could go into controller mode, and then you have two controllers where you can both now you have two players
Yeah.
using that. One player can use the tablet as a controller, and the other player can use the full just standard controller.
Right. Yeah. Dude, I don't know. There's a lot of questions I have.
I know, me too.
And it's like, is like you were saying, is that screen, like from what I saw, it looked like that screen was one piece. Like that whole thing was you just buy the
It is, yeah.
unit.
I think that's what they're
But-
gonna do. Yep.
Okay, so you think that so then you think that it would come with a tablet in it already? Like you just have to buy it like that?
Yes.
I was thinking like how
It's the way they made it
you know-
sound.
Okay. I was thinking it'd be cool if they'd just be like, here's one that like slightly adjusts, like it can, the middle kind of like slides in and out, and you can just make it fit whatever tablet you already have.
Oh, yeah. So there's companies out there that kind of make stuff like that already.
Yeah, I've seen that stuff. That's
But
what
that's why I
thinking
think they're
maybe.
going to hardwire it in, because I think that
I mean,
that's the move that they're going for,
it does
because
make
they
a lot
want
of
it all to be
sense.
one battery too. Like
Sure,
that's my
and to have the proper processing power. Like we
Right.
don't want these idiots to put the wrong tablet in there and then give us a
Exactly.
1-star rating because they're
Yep.
using some obsolete
piece
garbage.
of shit, right? But but the App Store still allows them to download it. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Okay, hold on. Before we get into that part of it, let's just wrap up here. Like, subscribe, do all that stuff, please. But seriously, go over to YouTube, youtube.com/@realaftv. Remember, real like fish and real. And just please subscribe. That helps a ton. Helps us out a ton. More than it is just to have you click the button. You can do it right there on your phone. YouTube app. Boop. Look us up. Subscribe. Super simple. Speaking of super
Very
simple,
true.
I'm going to keep it super simple. Anything you want to close with, Tim, before we go on? I got a little bit more tablet stuff, but we got the gist of it out there.
Yeah, man. I don't know. Like, do yourself a favor and buy that Zelda game if you're on the fence.
Yeah,
like, I was
dude.
never
Good
that
one.
Breath of
Hell yeah.
that Breath of the Wild game. I thought looked cool, but I never like made a move on it. And now I'm like, damn, I probably should have played Breath of the Wild because this game is cool.
Right.
And now I'm like, I don't think I can go back.
No.
Like, you take away
Not
my
worth
cool
it.
new toys
Yeah,
that this
right.
guy has,
Yeah.
and I'm supposed to go back to a version where he didn't have these things.
Right.
I don't think so. But yeah, man, this game is so crazy. There's so much to it. It's so good. I don't know what would have to come out for this thing to not get Game of the Year, man. This is like
Right.
I've never been one that was like super excited about it, and now I'm playing this game and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I just kind of hopped into this not knowing a whole lot about it, because I know now playing this that anybody that played Breath of the Wild has been waiting for this release date.
Now you know why I took the fucking day off, dude.
Yeah, because I'm like, damn, this game is dope.
Hell
So
yeah.
So if you're on the fence, or you're like, I don't know if I really want to play this game, like, you want to play this game, you do, you want to, yeah.
And if you're new to the podcast because of the Tears of the Kingdom talk that we've been doing, we have a fishing part of this. That's why it's called Real AF TV. You check it out. We really like that part. That's the shit that gets us here. And then we just go off on our random stuff because Tim said it, and I totally reciprocate. Like, I ditto whatever you want to say. It's like, I mean, if the mics weren't on and the YouTube channel stopped working, yeah, we'd just keep doing this. And
for sure.
We would just keep recording. Like, the recording software goes down, the YouTube goes down. So what? We're going to just get together and do a fake podcast then every 2 weeks anyway.
We'll just have a conversation like we used to before we recorded.
Right.
Put it out to the world. That's how this came to be. We're just talking anyways.
Right.
But dude, I gotta say real quick with the fish on there, since we're talking about the fish, like there are so many different kinds of fish in this game.
Yeah,
I'm
dude.
surprised I haven't hit how many different kinds there are. Some of them are clearly like just not even close to being a real thing, but there's
Right.
2 of them that are.
Yeah.
Like there's a Hyrule bass,
Uh-huh.
which looks, and then the ancient Arawanda.
Yeah, those are the 2 that
Arawanda's
I've
also
got
a
so
real
far.
fish.
Yeah. That's a
Yeah,
real fish. Is that the one that's like the black with the pink on it? And
yes,
yeah.
it's like a black with the pink. The Arawanda is a real fish, and they're ancient looking. And if you ever see them at the zoo, they are gnarly.
They are crazy as fuck, dude.
You can. There's a place in one of the malls that's like a underwater world style thing, and you can feed them.
No.
And they snap at the food you drop in there so damn fast that the one scared me because it wasn't eating it. And like the moment I turned my head, it just goes, poosh, and I was like, holy shit. I like yelled it in front of other kids, and I'm like, you guys get it? You
saw what happened.
You get it? I don't think anybody got mad. I think everybody had the same thought that I had.
Right.
I don't even
But you
know
just
if it
accidentally said it
registered
because it
that I swore.
happened directly to you. Yeah.
It was gnarly. But yeah, I caught a trout too. But that, I mean, they're all clearly like a little bit different, you know?
Yeah, they've altered it. Yeah, for sure.
Well, the Hyrule bass and the Arawanda are like regular fish. And then because of all the different elements in this game, you start getting into fish that are different.
Yes.
You know. Oh, I caught carp too.
Oh, shit. I don't think I've caught a carp yet.
I caught another fish that was...
Not in this game.
I caught another fish that looked like a salmon, but... it didn't. It was just called a something fish, and I don't want to say it because I don't want spoilers.
Yep, gotcha. Because it's an area, isn't it? Yep. Okay.
Are we?
No, that's okay. Don't tell me. I want to know. Okay.
I won't tell you.
All right. Okay. That's it, Tim. We're gonna wrap up right there. That's the podcast. We're gonna end there. But I want to talk about the tablet one more time.